You know how sometimes you go down holes on Wikipedia and you end up like thinking about something you haven't thought about in 20 years and just confirming that it did in fact happen. Benefer did happen, yes.
Yeah.
And people are losing their minds and consciousness over the whole thing, but it's back 20 years later.
I know, I'm happy for them. They look happy. He looks about as happy as he can look in candid photos.
J-Lo's looking great.
Yeah, she's looking radiant as ever.
Yeah. Anyway, I was wondering, did it happen? And the UK garage scene did in fact happen in the early 2000s.
Did you watch that YouTube video about, I think it was garage, no, yeah, a video essay went around recently about UK garage and it was good. Yeah.
Anyway, I was like, how many members were there in the So Solid crew?
I've been thinking about So Solid crew and Blazing Squad. And
Blazing Squad.
I really want to read out some of the names of Blazing Squad.
Oh, there's 12 members.
There was.
Do you know the really...
Was there? Am I right? That's a like full-on guess.
my personal favourite is Melody. Or is he, I can't remember if he's So
1,
Solid
2,
crew
3,
or
4,
Blazing
5,
Squad.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Just 12, yeah.
Yes.
I'll explain
yeah.
the melody name when we get to it. It's very complicated.
So you know how now there's boy bands and there's, way too many than there should be in the boy band. Well, back in the early 2000s, there was even more.
Yep.
12 boys, and they had a song called Crossroads. And
See you at the crossroads. I wonder how much money each of them was making individually.
Like
I'd say
nothing.
they were-
People in music meant nothing at that time. S Club 7 were shafted.
They were being paid in like t-shirts. They were not being paid in like actual money. I think that should just be a general loot drop from the podcast, the music video to Crossroads, because that is a time capsule for just a certain type of genre and culture and where we were as tweens.
Absolutely.
So here are the members. I won't read out their civilian names. I'm going to read out their musician names.
Service names, please.
Okay, and
they were hired by the British government, Bryan.
they were okay, and these guys are just the most British. You're right, mate. We're from fucking Blazing Squad, mate. We're gonna fucking wreck the gaff, mate.
And they would wreck the gaff.
They would, yeah. They look like trouble. I'd be scared to go near these young men. I would be bullied by them.
If I saw Blazing Squad coming down the street at me, I would literally shit my pants. I'd be like, I am fucking dead.
Yeah. Okay. From the top, we got Kenzie, Freak, Rocky B, Melody. That's John.
Okay, hang on. See, Melody, it's like Melody. Maybe his name is like David, so it's like Mellow David. But also, if you say it fast enough, it's melody, like music, which is what Blazing Squad perform. Carry on.
His name was Chris. We got my favorite, Reaper.
Oh, Reaper's good.
We got Crazy with a K. We got Spike E. Flavor. We got A-Tel. We got J-Tel. We got Tommy B. We got Tullo. And we got Strider.
I get the feeling Tullo was nobody's favorite.
I like Strider because it's a video game character one. There was wasn't there one called like Tiny Fingers?
I think that might be... Okay, so now I'm going to go look at the So Solid crew.
Okay. How many were in the So Solid crew?
I think there's 21 of them, and that's why the song...
Oh my fucking god.
That's why 21 seconds.
I would say, like, if people are listening to this section and you don't know what we're talking about, it's really important that you drop whatever you're doing and look up pictures of these groups right now, because you're not going to understand otherwise.
I'm going... Okay, go on our Twitter. I assure you, I promise, I will find a decent photo of them.
Oh, do that thing where we just post it and we don't talk about it, and then several days later the podcast comes out.
There will be context now for it. Okay, So Solid crew. How many DJs do you think were in So Solid crew?
I'm going to give it 4.
It's like 6 or 8. They were like the Slipknot of chav music.
They were. Okay, there were 3 official DJs, but a lot of them, like DJs as in, it said the word DJ in their name, but other members, you will know them as DJs from side projects.
Okay, so it'd be like DJ ZED, and he was not a DJ.
Yeah.
Okay,
so we got AM Sniper.
That's a pretty cool name.
AC Burrell.
Yeah.
Akira.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Asher D. Carl Morgan, which is just...
Oh, Carl.
Come on.
Carl was like, no, I'm not thinking
not
of
doing
names.
this shit.
Yeah.
Okay, also it says here it expanded from 19 initial members to 30.
Wow.
And half of these names are like in black on Wikipedia, the other half are in blue, so like they have hyperlinks into like further information on these. Okay, we got Dan the Man. Gotta say it all as one word. DJ Mex, DJ PDS, DJ Swiss.
DJ.
Okay, now we got back-to-back Face and Frost.
Oh, I bet they're like a duo.
They gotta be Face and Frost.
Face and Frost.
Okay, you got G-Man.
Okay, that's for like a British like rap outfit. That's a fun name.
Okay, you got JD. Sure. You got Keish. You got Cowdeen. You got one of the more well-known members, Lisa Mafia. I think she still goes as a solo
I forgot
artist.
that there was girls in So Solid Crew.
Yeah. You got MC Harvey. You got MC Mac. You got a dude called Mega Man.
Was she like the Smurfette? Was she the only girl?
For a while, she was kind of like she was the front girl who was the attractive kind of calling card, I guess.
I wonder I wonder who the next girl they brought in was.
Okay, you got Money, Mr. Shabs, and these guys who, on a side basis, very important to me personally, Oxide and Neutrino.
And I think that's another duo within the group.
Yes. You got PDs, you got Radical, you got Romeo, you got Scat D. This name's fucking brilliant. Stampede.
Oh yeah.
You got Statics with an X at the end. You got Squammy, Synth, Thug Angel.
Oh.
Was that the new girl?
Possibly. Tiger S, Timeless.
Bryan, it sounds like there's like Cthulhu monsters above your apartment.
Those are the neighbors I was telling you about. And another complaint has been lodged.
Okay.
I might need to get onto the So Solid Crew to take care of business upstairs as well. Okay, you got... Sorry, where was I? Timeless.
Are you going through them all?
Yes. Okay, I'm nearly there.
Okay.
The Twins.
Is that... Please tell me that's just one person.
I really hope it's one person. Trigger and TW7, which sounds like a water-resistant lubricant. So, there you go. And to a lesser extent, there was also a subgroup called the So Solid Kids.
Oh my fucking god, really?
And at one point they had a compilation remix album released in the early 2000s as well, and it was called Fuck It. Which really it really puts a bow on the whole thing, doesn't it?
Is Fuck It the So Solid Crew or the So Solid Kids?
The So Solid Crew.
Okay, yeah, I didn't think the kids would do that. Okay, maybe I'm getting kind of ahead of things here, but where do Goldie Look and Chain come into this?
Goldie Look and Chain are like a year or two after this, because like So Solid Crew were big around 2002, 2003. Goldie Look and Chain, I'd say that's 2004, 2005. And at that point, they're taking the piss out of garage.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like a comedy act turned legit group, because I love Goldie Look and Chain.
I thought Goldie
and they
Look
were fantastic in interviews.
I thought Goldie Look and Chain were shit for ages, and then they released that song, I think it's One. Yeah. And I listened to it and I was like, that's the best song I've ever heard in my life.
They're really good.
It's a fucking only if you want to just play a little One. It's just an incredible song. Okay, that's enough because we'll get copyrighted. But yeah, British garage. How about that, everybody?
Yeah, the Irish tolerated it, but you know,
as with most things from the British, we sternly watched as they soared. I like how many like clips of Irish rappers are doing the rounds internationally now.
Yeah.
You ever see those like New York rappers reacting to Irish rap videos, and they're like, "This is pretty good." Welcome to the Let's Fight a Boss video game podcast, the world's. What do you guys think during the pause?
You're going to say strongest?
Yeah.
Are you just waiting?
Yeah, I'm just waiting.
Nothing else happening. Interesting. strongest video game podcast. I am sitting here with two former members of the So Solid crew. To my right, known only as Knife Dollars, it's Niamh.
Hi.
And to my left, it's the Spaceman. It's Bryan.
Hello.
And with you always, I'm your host.
Trigger nuts.
Trigger Nuts.
with his head at the end.
Yeah.
Please don't make that a thing. Like, can we just roll past that?
I really hope we're all wearing beanies and oversized jackets and it's way too cold to be outdoors, but we're on top of a building and a helicopter is filming us.
What would our song be called?
Bread and butter, but it's no like bread and butter.
It's pretty good. That's pretty good. Guys, I feel like we should kick things off. Bryan, you've been very excited to talk about a certain topic featuring John Cena.
Yeah.
You good to go now?
Sure.
Cool. It's Wrestle Talk.
Thought we were going to talk about car movies.
Why? What does that have to do with John Cena?
He's
a wrestler, Bryan. He's fighting Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. I feel like I was really transparent with this.
I'm pretty sure there's a big overlap between car movies and wrestling.
Yeah, okay. Look, real quick, I have to talk about wrestling because things are going fucking insane. Okay, like 7 years ago, CM Punk, one of my favorite wrestlers, does the pipe bomb. Are you guys familiar with this?
No.
Like he has an explosive?
Yep, okay. So CM Punk comes out and he sits cross-legged on the middle of the stage.
Okay.
And he's basically like, I fucking hate WWE. And he just, for 8 minutes, lets rip about how much he hates the company. And he goes like so far overboard. Like, it's really funny because John Cena's in the ring and you can slowly see John Cena's face go from like, okay, this is interesting, to, oh no, what are you doing? Like, there's a bit where he's like, I don't hate you, John. I just don't like how you kiss Vince McMahon's ass just the way Hulk Hogan did, just the way Dwayne did, referring to The Rock. And it's like, oh no, oh, this is getting too real. But then he like jumps back and forth between like this weird fictional reality and actual reality, because he's like, I am the best wrestler in this company, and WWE does not give a shit. They don't care. I'm not on their stupid fucking programs. I'm not on their shitty cups. I'm not on anything. And the crowd are going mental because like WWE fans love when people shit on WWE.
Yeah, it's funny.
And then he turns on them and he just goes, and to you people cheering me right now, you're as big a part of me leaving as anything else. And he's like, how do you think I feel when you bring me that merchandise that my face isn't on at 5 a.m. at the airport when I just want to go to bed, but you want to sell it on eBay because you don't want to get a real job? It is the best promo anyone has ever cut in wrestling. CM Punk actually did really well off it, and WWE gave him a good storyline, and then things got worse between them and they fired him on his wedding day.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like, really?
Really.
Oh, dear.
Legitimately. And he has been out of the wrestling industry since. The 3 people who main evented WrestleMania this year were, well, beside night 2 at least, besides Sasha and Bianca, Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, and Edge. Niamh, you know Edge.
I do know Edge.
Roman Reigns, just a very powerful, beautiful person. And do either of you know Daniel Bryan?
I do. He's a lovely beard.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's big.
And
he's actually kind of little. He's like a little indie
Is he one
elf.
of the brothers? Or am I thinking of like
I think
the
you're
Hick
thinking of
brothers?
something else.
Okay, never mind.
he's
Daniel
a wrestler
Bryan is
that like...
I'm just going to Google him. That will
Yeah.
make this faster.
He's a little environmental elf who's very, very good at wrestling.
And his catchphrase is yes.
Yep. WWE basically tried to bury him for years because he's not a Vince McMahon guy. He's like,
he looks like he's from Galway.
Yeah,
oh
he
my
does.
God.
He's also got lovely legs.
Massively talented wrestler. Crazy connection with the audience. People just love him because he's extremely likable. And then he had like an amazing heel run last year, 2 years ago, where of course it's WWE, so his whole angle was that he's an environmentalist and he wanted people to stop polluting. He was let go from WWE recently. His contract expired and it was just like, what are WWE doing? Because they don't let their big talent go. Like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. Meanwhile, the rivalry with AEW has been heating up a lot because AEW, like, year on year, are gaining ground on WWE. They're still not there because WWE is a fucking institution, but like, they just got a big star in Aleister Black, who was let go. He's now called Malachi Black. And the craziest fucking thing is now happening where there's rumors going around that are like nearly confirmed at this point that AEW have signed CM Punk and Daniel Bryan. And if they did that, the thing WWE has always had over AEW is star power. It's people like Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, John Cena, Roman Reigns. John Cena's a part-timer at best. Like, he's a movie star now. Like, he'll do maybe one match a year. They have Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt's been out for ages. This move kind of nearly levels the playing field star power-wise, and it's just fucking crazy because it's like this giant shift in the landscape of wrestling. And it's insane to think that, like, 2 years ago AEW didn't exist and this is happening now. And it's just one of those things where it's like, wow, it is a really crazy, weird time to be watching wrestling. That's all I have to say, but thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, John.
But it hasn't been confirmed.
Not yet.
Okay.
I think maybe actually Daniel Bryan has. But if CM Punk did, like, he said he was never going to wrestle again. He went to be an MMA fighter, got his fucking head kicked in.
Oh, yeah, you would.
Yeah. But then Brock Lesnar also did that and became the World Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah, but Brock Lesnar is a freak of nature.
He's Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
He's just there are humans and there are Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Fast and the Furious talk. Go.
Niamh, we have 2 films here. And we'll work your way up to it.
Yeah.
But these are 2 select favorites. We have Fast 5 and Furious 7.
Okay, so I took my own advice, which was where I went wrong first. And I watched Fast 5 because I was just like, this will give me a good basis to watch 7 and then go straight into 9. So I started watching 5 and 5 still holds up. This is the introduction of Hobbs, which is The Rock's character. And it's a very contained story set mostly in Brazil.
Yeah, in Rio.
Yeah.
With the safe, isn't it?
Yes,
yeah.
With the safe. So it's very contained, but there's still a lot of stuff in it that's kind of like, oh shit, I need to watch 4 because Michelle Rodriguez's character isn't in it.
Because her funeral's in the 5th one, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, because she gets killed off at the end of 4. Mm-hmm. Because 4 is a soft reboot.
Exactly. And in 5, one of the main characters from the first one dies, the guy with the tattoo on his arm. He has a big black beard. Yes,
who's part of the original crew.
Yeah, and like I was just like, well, if I haven't watched the original one, then I'm not going to give a crap about this guy dying. And also, there's a lot of necklace stuff with Dom because Michelle Rodriguez gave him the necklace, and that's not really landing for me because I haven't seen 4. Then I was going to skip 6, but that's the best. Okay, it has the best plot part because Michelle Rodriguez's character is presumed dead, but then comes back to life.
But she has amnesia.
And she's working for the other side.
I feel like death in Fast and Furious, from going off secondhand information, is kind of like death in Dragon Ball, as in, never really.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Except when linked to real life.
Yes.
Well, the one actor who's like physically dead is still canonically alive, but they just talk about him.
Oh, okay.
They are all linked to each other in a way where they're all support beams to this crazy monument of Vin Diesel in a car.
Yeah. So then I get to 7 and I haven't watched 6 because I was like, I need to speed this up. I need to watch 7. But now Michelle Rodriguez is back in it and like she's dealing with all this PTSD because Dom is still in love with her, but she doesn't remember any of their moments together.
And see, Dom had a side relationship with Hobbs' partner in the 6th movie.
Yeah.
And then she had to kind of step back because now Letty, Michelle Rodriguez's character, is back in Dom's life.
Yeah.
Also, that fucking necklace, like, has more power than like the Infinity Stones in the MCU,
Yes.
where like it is hinted at in so many movies and passed around between multiple. Like it's like a fucking lightsaber. Like
Yep.
it's like Luke Skywalker's lightsaber.
It's suggested it has like magical powers.
Well, it's like kind of like the token of their family, basically, because when Han dies in like Fast and Furious 3 Tokyo Drift, which is set. It's 6.5. It's set
between
after
the 6 and 7.
And they do a great thing in 7 where they go back to like Japan and they have all the lighting switched to make it look like
all of a sudden it looks like
Tokyo
2006. And the guy from Alabama's there, even though he's meant to be 17, they've now like retconned it, so now he's like a man in his late 30s.
A man grown.
Mm-hmm. He went to the beach. That makes him old.
It made him really wrinkly. Like the fucking necklace is so crazy because like John in the 9th movie they introduce a second necklace and people lose their shit.
Okay, so this is like I didn't get to 9 because I was like I need to watch 6, and then I just finished 7 today. But like 7 is such a globe-trotting one. They go all around the world in 7. There's like fucking 10 locations and like it's really set piecey.
They visit like 3 different continents.
Yeah, and Ronda Rousey has a fight with Michelle Rodriguez and it's pretty good. Michelle Rodriguez is kind of amazing.
That bit where they drive,
Michelle Rodriguez is really cool.
The bit where they drive the sports cars through 3 buildings is fucking ridiculous. And when they get the hacker, what's her name? She's played by Miss Andy from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Ripley something?
Ramsey, yes.
Ramsey, yeah.
I kind of thought the way they treated Ramsey was like, I was like really appreciative of the levels of not being sleazy. Like there's always a bit in it because it's like car culture and like whatever, but like there's also a respectful edge. But I thought Ramsey got a bit of a hard time being just like overly sexualized consistently.
Her role later on is that she's actually secretly a moron and she doesn't and people think she's smart because of her British accent.
That's really funny.
And she's the only one in the crew who can't drive. And they take the piss out of her for it.
She's a good addition to the crew.
Oh, she's brilliant.
But basically, Brian, what I'm getting at is I didn't get to F9 because I kept stonewalling myself by being like, this plot is just too amazing. Because how can, like, I need to watch 8 again before 9 because they introduced Charlize Theron's character. She's
very important because she's like a bad hacker, not a good hacker. Mm-hmm. Like, John, hackers will get you.
Oh, they totally will. I saw that. I saw a documentary about that. I think it was called Hacker. Do you remember that, Brian?
The one with...
She kills people through the internet.
The one with Angelina Jolie in it.
I don't remember. I think no. That's Hackers. Mm-hmm. There's another basically
Shaggy.
There's a slasher movie about a hacker, and I think it's called Hacker. And it's just he kills people through. He like turns off your brakes and stuff. It's very good.
So I haven't got there yet. Is basically what I'm getting to. Instead of going to see F9 in the cinema, I went to see Legally Blonde in the cinema.
How'd that go?
It was great. It was my first time watching it, and I really enjoyed it.
What's her character called? Elle Woods?
Elle Woods.
Yeah.
Elle Woods wants to become a lawyer because her boyfriend dumps her because she isn't serious enough. And he's going to Harvard Law and he needs a Harvard Law girlfriend. So people will know how good he is. So she just passes the bar and gets in. And hijinks ensue and she uses her abilities and her brain to solve the case and win the day.
her abilities and her brain.
Her brain.
I can remember the case.
Her fashion abilities.
Yeah, like the fashion plays into it very importantly at the last minute.
Yeah, like the writing in the movie is clever enough from what I remember.
To have a breakthrough on a certain witness.
An old man dies and his fitness instructor, young wife, is blamed for the murder because it looks plausible. And Elle Woods knows that she would never do such a thing. Because she went to a fitness course with her before. But that character is played by Ali Lautner, who plays Claire in the Resident Evil movies. So
and she was in Heroes.
Did you watch the new CG Resident Evil thing?
Yeah, Infinite Darkness. No, it is the worst piece of Resident Evil fiction made.
Brilliant.
Like, it's
Okay,
just
I'm gonna
awful.
check that out.
No, it's so boring. It looks bad. The story's shitty. The animation's shitty. It's just they don't get Leon's hair right. They don't get their faces right.
That.
Claire's just sidelined. It's just shit. I was watching all of it.
It's meant to take place between 5 and 6.
I know.
It?
Oh, yeah. No, between 2 and 4.
Between 2.
Or maybe it is 5 and 6. I can't even remember anymore. It doesn't matter. Like, Leon just loves presidents.
Yeah, because it
No,
came
it's
out
after 4. Yeah.
Because it came out a month ago and nobody gave a shit.
Because it was awful. And if someone's out there being like, it wasn't that bad. No, I know how you feel. I'm a Resident Evil fan too. That was bad. That was so fucking bad. Oh. I just, like, I don't get what Capcom are doing sometimes. Like, they reintroduce Leon and Claire through Resident Evil 2 Remake. And they have so much opportunity because a whole pile of new fans love these characters. And then they're like, let's go back to the old terrible timeline where Leon is a sad alcoholic and not a fun cheeky chappy or a rookie cop.
I think the moment they stopped making Leon sassy,
he's just the bad side of sassy, and like he's such a super cop in this. Like he's just
protect the president.
There's no wiggle room with him. He's boring as hell.
Leon Kennedy will always be him sitting on the throne for me. Like, that's my Leon Kennedy.
That was brilliant.
Just so good.
But yeah, not great. Well, so that's my conversation about
Fast and Furious,
Legally Blonde, and Resident Evil Infinite Darkness.
Movies take time.
Mm-hmm.
Bryan, you added this to the docket, and I am shocked and curious to see it here. You watched an episode of Sexy Beasts.
Oh, I did.
What is this fucking monstrosity?
Oh my god. Okay, so Sexy Beasts is this year's Netflix dating show.
Oh, yes.
Why are these shows always like a nightmare?
Because the one last year was Love at First Sight, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that was like at the beginning of COVID, or kind of like maybe a month or two into COVID. And a lot of us watched it,
yes,
made fun of the people, and then looked at ourselves in the mirror and died inside. Because, you know, we did not mentally pace ourselves very well. And shows like that didn't help. Sexy Beasts is like, we looked at ourselves in the mirror and the demon is visible. Like, the first episode is about a girl as a demon.
Do you want to describe, like, just the weird concept of this show?
Okay, so this is a one-person dating 3 people TV show. And in each episode will have person A with 3 suitors, B, C, and D. And one will be eliminated per round.
Okay.
Until they have the final pair.
But the catch is
they are wearing ridiculous makeup that you can't tell what they look like under the makeup.
Like the most elaborate theater makeup you have ever seen.
Like prosthetics.
And I need to stress
Yeah.
that makeup and prosthetics is amazing in this show. And it's in 4K, so you can really, like, the detail on the costuming. Well, not the makeup, because they're essentially wearing their own clothes. It's just they're kind of bust, and maybe their shoulders and hands have makeup on them, as well as the entire face and their head in general. And so the first episode, it has female contestant with 3 male suitors. Need to stress as well, there's 6 episodes. Every episode is a heterosexual pairing.
Of course.
And I was thinking about other dating shows, like, what's the one, First Dates Ireland, First Dates UK, like, they have a good diversity at this point, but like, this was an opportunity. You had 6 episodes.
It's a real easy layup.
Yeah. But it's like, this is like, it's so like, with like First Dates, those are people who want to actually date people. With a show like this, these are people who want a boost to their influencer career.
Oh, they are. And like, the people in this are so attractive, because when
That's
what's the point? What's the fucking point?
But like, why?
But like, they're so hot, and like
they're all models and shit. They're that's their occupation. And it's just
but they're like pop star hot. Like, it's insane, because as soon as they take off the makeup, like, there is a wow factor, but then it sinks in and you're like, no, wait, these are all like perfect 10s. Like, it's crazy.
Did you guys ever see that old show? I think it was called Love in the Dark.
Is that like an MTV show?
I'm remembering it.
I can't remember if it was MTV. I feel like it was like UTV or Channel 4 or something.
Okay.
But it was basically the kind of like sort of like date house setup. Do you remember those old MTV shows where like, you know, there'd be a house of guys and a house of girls? And
the Real World.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Or Jersey Shore.
Yeah. But they wouldn't live together. They'd only meet on dates, the boys and the girls. But this was basically all the dates happened in the pitch dark. So they could not see what each other looked like at all. And they'd be in the same room and they could like sit on the same couch and hold hands or make out if they wanted to. But they couldn't tell what the other looked like until they got out. But the twist was that some people were super hot and some people were less traditionally attractive.
Well, at least they did it.
You're going to get a grenade.
But there was one...
Bryan.
That's from Jersey Shore. That's where it comes.
But...
The grenades are here. Gotta leave the floor. The grenades are here.
Jesus fucking Christ. But there was one episode where, you know, a very conventionally beautiful lady paired up with a man who was like, you know, maybe less people's thing, but they got on really, really well. And like, you know, they ended up, you know, hooking up in the dark and stuff. Like they were really, really into each other. And then like, you know, the reveal comes at the end of the show and she sees him and they have to do this thing where like they both get to see each other. And then if they want, they can kind of meet at a certain place. And it just shows the guy waiting and waiting and waiting. And she doesn't want to meet him. And and it was so sad because this lad was like a very typical like lad you'd find down in an English pub, like a lot of confidence, like bit of banter, that kind of, and he was just fucking devastated.
That's so sad. I don't like these shows. It's like Naked Attraction.
That's why they don't have ugly people.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
No, I still think they should. I think they're not having ugly people because they're cowards, Niamh.
I just hate that whole like, is attraction really skin deep? And it's just like, will she fall in love with the like cosmetic like baboon face? Don't worry, underneath is like a male model. Like it's like, what does it matter at that stage?
I think a lot of the contestants on these shows are already very superficial, so it's gonna be.
Yeah. They're so mean-spirited. Naked Attraction, you're just like fully naked body, except
so
your head is blocked off. So they basically are choosing you based directly on your body.
But it's so sex positive.
It's so horrifying.
Such a weird show.
I love
how much like sex positive stuff becomes a nightmare just quickly.
Oh, that whole concept crossed over very quickly into a nightmare realm.
You know, on the surface, the dictionary term, hell yeah, sex positivity, that's
same.
great. But the shit people use it to justify.
Yeah, and put people who aren't comfortable in situations and no, it's fine. Big smiles all around, everyone.
Not big smiles all around. Have you guys ever done like speed dating?
Yes, I did it once. Yeah.
What's it like?
Oh my god.
Nerve-wracking. Yeah, it was really like nerve-wracking, but because you're doing it so quickly, all you can do is get out the basics. So you don't have to like spend a lot of time looking for conversation kind of thing. So you kind of get a general vibe of people. I did it because a friend was going, so I had like no expectations. And I wasn't really like looking for anything, so maybe it was more chill for me in that sense because I wasn't that worried. But the plus of it seemed like because you're moving so quickly, things don't get as awkward, and the person you might have something very quickly with, you can just write down their name.
I would love to try it. Like, not so much the finding someone part, I just want to experience that dynamic.
That's why I went. I was going to say you should, but is that kind of just shitty to go as a person who's not interested? I'm just here as a tourist. I love tourists.
I'm not available.
That's how I'd start every conversation.
So I'm just here to waste your time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it'd be all right. Yeah. I think I'd probably like say yes to everyone and then just like not reply to anyone.
Then you're just like the guy at the very end of reality who just stood up.
Yeah,
John,
they're waiting. They're waiting in a hall.
I think they need to have reasonable expectations. I kind of gestured to myself when I said that.
Guys, I got nothing going on. Guys, there's. I just walk away. It's a car that won't work.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sexy Bees. This show is half an hour long, or about 22 minutes. 11 minutes of this show is just B-roll footage of the contestants in their makeup, like doing voguing in front of the camera. Like, it doesn't need to... It's padded out to fuck. And, like, the people they have on this, like, okay, they're insanely attractive. They're just... They talk out their asses. So the first episode was enough for me. And I was like, okay, I get it. It was the girl looking for three guys, and she was a demon, and the three guys were a mouse, a stone man, and a baboon.
I wish they'd taken her aside and been like, I'm just going to warn you, there's a real fucking grenade in here.
Everyone was so fucking attractive with the makeup.
I'll bet.
Who did she pick?
The baboon. But the people in this, like, guarantee they've no idea what a furry is because they're just not part of that world or even adjacent to that world. It is just not in their vocabulary. Like, you know how we have, like, cousins or siblings and they wouldn't know what a furry is.
Yeah, I feel like I fall into that conversation like once every 3 years and have to explain it.
Yeah. One final note, like, okay, the makeup is amazing. I really, really wish part of the show was the makeup process.
Yeah.
Because
Bryan, you are not their target.
Because
but it is.
Like,
It's
they're
about
so talented.
yeah.
But see, the problem is...
that'd be super interesting, but like...
I bet you what
know
they
why they're
should
making
do
this.
is do two competing shows, do their stupid like
I'd
dating
love
one,
a
and
behind
then
the
release
scenes.
a behind the scenes that are shorter, like just 15 minutes about application and the makeup behind it. And I bet you there will be a huge audience for the makeup one.
Because it's really good
Niamh.
makeup and they're moving around
Bless your little heart, Niamh.
because there's one episode where in the episode I watched they went to the theme park and they were on roller coasters and I was like, the makeup but it doesn't, like, and it's all like dangling off their face, but it's sticking down.
That'd be so weird to have that much makeup on and have to like do normal casual things.
And there's a bit where two of them try to kiss, but like some of the appendages are blocking like the mouth.
Do they comment on each other's makeup?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
But they're more just interested in each other's like physique rather than the head.
What would you, if you couldn't see someone's face, what would you base it on?
Yeah,
I'm taking
Niamh,
that question.
Do we really want to?
You know what? We all have an answer and we all agree to it, and let's just leave it at that, okay? I recommend everybody check out one episode. Maybe don't watch the first episode. Just like pick one out of the 6 and just do a roulette and just watch it. Just experience it and then just never watch it again. But I do think you should check out the makeup in the show because it is fantastic.
Yeah, it's fantastic enough that like when I saw like the Netflix preview, I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, highly recommended. Full stop. Don't watch it.
Cool.
Full stop.
I watched Words Bubble Up like soda pop.
Oh God, I saw this fucking thing.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Wow, you're angry about it, Bryan.
Because there's so many of these like post Your Name movies where you've got like the romantic like fucking pairing and one of them is like not doing so good. It's another one of those.
Is exactly what this is. Yeah. That is exactly.
I'm not trying to be cynical,
I'm not saying that the film ends with one character running desperately towards another screaming their name, but it might. But there is a saving grace to this movie, and it's that it's basically one of the most visually beautiful movies I have ever seen.
Okay.
It looks fucking amazing. And like it's not oh, it's your typical anime thing but edited really nicely. The art direction top to bottom is so consistently incredibly on point. All the character designs are like really fresh and weird and saturated, and like the majority of the film takes place in like a mall, and like it's all colored like pink and turquoise, and the security guards have like yellow uniforms, and the colors are so saturated and so crazy that like it shouldn't work at all. Like it should look like a mess, but somehow it kind of ties together. It kind of reminds me of like a lot of Araki's later JoJo colors, in that like it's just these neon pinks and blues, and it's like, I don't think, like, even what you're saying, Bryan, and like you're right, that's what the movie is. It's not a bad one of them. It's not an amazing, like it's not an amazing story. It's like reasonably charming. It's fine.
It's just the name and how whimsical that is. Really,
I really hate the name of the movie because I just think it sounds so weird in English. But like likewise, I would not watch the dub of this. The dub is just very. It is very anime dub.
It's too twee.
It's really twee, and I think when like you watch the sub, it kind of just takes that back a little bit. But It's hard for me to level like that many criticisms. Part of it just because like it's non-offensive, but another part of it, it's just like every new shot of this movie was like firing this like visual synapse in my brain, just being like, wow, look at how cool this looks. And it's like the animation is really like gestural and weird. Like there's a chase scene in the mall and it's like a skateboard kid and there's all these like little visual in-jokes that happen all the way through, and it's just a gorgeous looking movie. Like not a whole lot going on with the story. The story's fine, but holy shit, I wish more stuff looked like this.
Yeah.
Did you watch a little bit of it, Niamh?
I saw a bit of it. My girlfriend Rebecca watched it.
Yeah.
Because definitely in her wheelhouse. Same feelings.
Yeah.
Beautiful looking. But it is one of those movies.
If you watch the entire movie, your opinion will not change. But I loved it. If you're into color, like I loved it visually. If you're into like color design or just, you know, want a break from that super polished, like Your Name, very... It's like anime distilled and distilled and distilled and distilled into just this, what I feel like has actually become like a really lifeless style.
That photorealism background kind of stuff.
Yeah, and like it was cool at a point, but now I just feel like I don't need to see another movie that looks like this, but I think we're going to see about 100,000 movies that look like this. This does not look like that. This looks creative and expressive and just beautiful in a way that I would love to see more anime and just animation in general. Look, I think the last time I saw a film that was this good looking, it was Into the Spider-Verse.
Wow.
Yeah, that is how highly I would rate it. But yeah, Bryan.
Yes.
You read a manga, which for people watching or listening is a Japanese comic. Do I have that right?
A Japanese comic book, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Manga. It's a Japanese word apparently. Not short for mangazine.
Not to be confused with anime, which is a Japanese cartoon.
That's
Japanimation, as they're also known.
I'm reading a manga called Homunculus. What happens is I'm down this weird rabbit hole adjacent to my other rabbit holes where I'm reading lots of weird seinen manga, and I keep getting recommended this one called Homunculus, and it's a psychological horror. And I'm about halfway through it, and it has its ups and downs in terms of its story, but I'm enjoying it. It's from the author Hideo Yamamoto, who also did Ichi the Killer.
Oh, I remember you were telling us about this at one stage. Were you, John? Or did I dream that? Or did I just go down an Ichi the Killer hole?
Oh, I don't think it was me.
Okay.
I in Praise of Shadows did a video on it. Maybe I talked about it from that.
Maybe.
That could be it, yeah.
Yeah.
I've not watched that video, but I will after I finish the... Because there's also a live-action Netflix film that just came out as well. So it seems like whatever way the internet worked, it just kind of caught my attention. I've seen the film Ichi the Killer. It is the most Takeshi Miike film ever made. And
did you see the anime that came with it?
No.
I'll give that to you. It's gross.
Oh, I bet it is. Because, like, the author is very much in his comfort when he is shocking the reader.
Yeah.
And Homunculus is absolutely shock. And some of the shock is very, very good. Other parts of the shock, I'm like, I get it. I'm not interested in this. Can we just get on to the next arc? But when this manga is good, it's fucking brilliant. Because the way some of the shock is done is just so fucking funny. Like, there's a bit where the main character, they kind of finally get into his backstory. The main character is a man who has become recently homeless. But as the story goes on, you realize, or you learn that he did this by choice because he left the society of the wealthy behind because of what they were doing to the poor. And the way he quits his job as an actuary for a large international bank is fucking hilarious. And it's edgy and shocking, but in the perfect way. That's a way to quit your job, buddy. I'll tell you afterwards.
Okay.
Anyway, the story begins, and it's about a man who sleeps in a tiny car, and he's living outside a park full of homeless people, and he gets scouted by an unusual punk-looking guy who is practicing to become a doctor, and he goes, "Let me perform surgery on you, and I will give you a large amount of money." And the main guy thinks about it, and eventually accepts. And what he wants to do is he wants to perform a tremination, I think that's what it's called, where they carve a tiny hole in your skull, but only just on the skull, not to the brain, just around the like outside, so that your brain is only being covered by the layer of your skin on your forehead. And it's just a tiny, and you're both doing the squirms.
Yeah.
And it's just like a tiny, like 1 centimeter diameter hole. And the idea is that this will open up your sixth sense.
Okay, now I'm listening.
And what happens is, and like the art is fantastic, and it's one of those things where the art is so good at the start and then it has to be scaled back. And by the point I'm at, there's so much reuse because the author has to reach the weekly or monthly deadline. I
kind of worry about authors when I see that sometimes. I just read Tepu, and some of it's so beautiful, and some of it's like you can see that guy struggling, and like that manga had to go on hiatus for like 2 years. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's just the first 2 volumes of Homunculus were fantastic, and now it's just like a volume will just be 2 characters talking at a table.
Yeah.
And you will go through pages and you will go, that's the same drawing I saw 10 pages ago. Because it's just reuse.
Yeah.
And keeps happening. Anyway, he gets the surgery and the doctor-to-be is like, well, any difference? And he's like, nope. And then he walks out onto the street and he gets some dirt in his left eye and he closes it, or maybe it's his right eye. Anyway, he gets dirt in his eye and he has to close one of his eyes. And when he does that, he sees things 2-dimensionally instead of 3-dimensionally. And half the people around him do not look like people anymore. They just look like bizarre versions of humans. There's one person where their head is just like flipping upside down. There's one person with like multiple legs. There's just a person.
Some of them are pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, there's one where he's like a very like heavy looking man, but then from the side he's like paper thin, and he's walking around. What's the location in the Yakuza games? Kamurocho. Okay, well then Kabukicho is the actual place. Anyway, he bumps into some Yakuza, and the head Yakuza like stops him in his tracks, and he looks up at the Yakuza, and anybody who has like psychological baggage doesn't look like they normally look like, and he can see their vulnerabilities. And the way he sees the Yakuza is, it's a big giant mech that is slowly opening up, and inside is a little boy crying, and he's holding a sickle to his pinky finger trying to cut it off.
Wow.
And at this point he's kind of flustered and he lets that slip, and the Yakuza goes, what did you say? And the other guys are like, go on, scram, punk. And then the next day the Yakuza finds him out again and goes, what did you say about me? And they have a heart-to-heart and they talk, and the Yakuza explains his tragic past, and there's a reason why he looks like that. And the main character heals his pain.
Through talking about it?
Through talking about it, and the Yakuza quits the Yakuza. And he gets this epiphany, and he doesn't look like the mech anymore. But now the main character looks at himself in the mirror, and one of his arms is a mech arm.
Oh, so he takes...
Yeah, like he took the pain.
Okay.
And at this point I'm like, okay, this is fucking brilliant. But then it becomes this kind of pain of the week storyline where he's collecting other pains, and some of the other stories are not as good as the Yakuza story. Second one fucking sucks. Third one, so far so good. But it really feels like the thing where the pacing is just atrocious. Okay. I like, nothing will happen for an entire volume, and whatever way I'm reading it or whatever like presentation, there's no chapters, so you're just kind of like, or it completely lacks momentum.
Yeah.
But I'm really curious to see how this goes, and like, it's edgy, it's fucked up, but there's also this weird nuance to it when it wants to be. But yeah, I'm having a great time reading it.
Probably something should... Maybe a little content warning, because some of the stuff in there
it is from the author of Ichi the Killer.
Okay.
I need to stress it, like, this is the edgiest, darkest, shocking shit. If you are easily shocked, you will not enjoy this. It is not for you.
Okay.
That's just how it is, unfortunately.
And segueing on from that, I saw a movie.
Oh my god.
Space Jam 2.
Oh.
A New Legacy.
I also watched this.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
I really didn't like this film.
Did you see it in the movie cinema?
No, I just torrented it.
I don't know. So...
It's on HBO Max.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I 10 a.m. at the cinema, ticket for one, please. Private screening of Space Jam 2.
John, I don't think this film is even like good
Bryan,
in a bad way.
I did not hate this movie.
You liked it?
It was fine. I thought it was grand.
I thought it was really bad.
Okay, here's the thing. I think like the worst thing you could kind of say about this movie is like it's just a big fucking corporate mess, right?
Yeah, it is. It's Ready Player One.
It's Ready Player One. I also think it's better than Ready Player One.
Yeah, it is.
Like I think that's the level of disaster. But this movie is fucking weird.
Yeah,
like
it's like 2 hours long.
A strange movie. Rick and Morty are in it. Yeah.
All the content that streams on HBO Max is in this.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Game of Thrones, Harry Potter.
Seriously?
Yep.
Yeah. It is corporate as fuck.
Yeah, it is. But like for me, I wasn't bored watching it.
I was so bored.
I felt like to me, like I didn't like a lot of the 2D animation in it. The 2D animation I thought felt really like weak. But the 3D animation, like the character models look fucking weird. But I felt
it looked good during the basketball game.
I felt like there was every like 2 or 3 minutes there was like some weird visual set piece they'd do. Like they have a rap contest at one point and everyone changes into rap clothes and they look pretty cool. It's not like a great movie, but I was like, this is fine. I didn't hate it.
There's a bit where LeBron James falls from the sky, like a cartoon character.
Yeah.
And he crashes into the ground and he leaves a silhouette, but it's of the Nike logo.
Are you serious, Bryan?
Yeah.
No, John, that did in fact happen, didn't it?
That definitely happened.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I really didn't like the cameos of the audience in the background. Like at several points you could see characters from The Matrix, but you can tell they're not the characters.
You can tell it's a shitty like Halloween costume.
Yeah, and they have the penguin, but it's the Danny DeVito penguin, and he's standing beside Don Cheadle's character for a lot, and like it just looks 90% correct. But I know who that's aimed at, and it's aimed at me, and I can tell the mistakes in that costume.
Yeah, there is the weirdest Michael Jordan fake out.
Oh, I actually like that bit.
That was great.
That was brilliant and very contemporary. So like my two biggest problems with the film are...
Go for it.
Well, I guess 3 here. It's too long.
It's 2 hours, which is too long.
Yeah. Original Space Jam is 88 minutes long. And what happened was...
Even original Space Jam like starts to stretch a little.
Yeah. And like the basketball game doesn't start until like an hour in. They're not playing basketball in this game. They're playing a game with a basketball, but... It is based on a video game adaptation of basketball made by LeBron
James' son
and
designs a basketball game.
Oh.
And it's combo based rather than actual net scoring. So like it's style based. So it's like a platinum basketball game. But the rules of it aren't very clear and it's very much based on luck where you have to stand on these like tokens that give you like flair and then you can combo out of that. But they're just put in for the sake of plot reasons so that they can up the stakes when they want and choose.
Has video game mechanics ever been fun in a game?
In a movie?
Sorry, in a movie.
No.
In a movie. Because like they try and capture this very specific video game feeling in a film, and it never works. Like the Alicia Vikander Tomb Raider doing a light crystal puzzle, and you're just watching someone bringing things to different parts and slotting them in.
It's like that in the Silent Hill movies.
Yeah,
there
is. Yeah. You need a certain colored key to open up a certain colored door.
And I don't mind a bit of that, but like standing on multipliers like that only matters when you're playing something, and you can feel that. It's just like.
I think like lame. Comics and manga can kind of pull that off better.
Yeah, definitely.
But
it's
not
just
movies.
Compared to the original Space Jam, in which there's a bit in the original Space Jam where they explain the rules of basketball.
I don't know, Bryan. I think maybe the basketball in Space Jam is a little less solid than you're remembering.
Compared to the movie.
The Monstars do score like 300 points.
They don't. This final score is 77, 78.
The counter goes up very quickly.
The counter in the new movie goes into the thousands.
Okay. I'm not sure. I think
I
don't care.
Like, John,
I just don't care
John,
how realistic the basketball is.
I didn't like this movie so much that I studied it because it left such a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, you're not the only person I've heard dislike it as well, but I think I was just really expecting to hate it, and I was just like, this is grand. I like Lola Bunny's Wonder Woman bit. That
was good. And like LeBron and his storyline has an arc. Bugs Bunny's storyline doesn't have an arc.
He dies.
Like Bugs Bunny dies, and then a scene later he's back to normal.
Yeah.
And like his reasons for like all the Looney Tunes leaving Toon World and like going off into other IP, none of that is like resolved.
That was so disappointing
capacity.
Because that was such a fun idea. Like the idea that Bugs is the only one left in Toon World. Like I liked that, but they don't do anything with it.
Yeah, it just feels like there is a version of this movie that had a more solid character arc for its main protagonist and secondary protagonist.
I think at some point they were like, because like in the first Space Jam, it's like there's so much Looney Tunes shit in it all the way through. The Looney Tunes are much more like a side character of this movie. It takes ages
for them to come in.
Yeah, they're not in it for like the first half hour.
How's LeBron?
He's good.
He's fine. Yeah, he's not bad.
He's doing really well for himself.
He does a dab at one point though, and it's like, oh.
But like
remember dabs?
Yep.
But see, like this film was gonna lose me because in the first 5 minutes it does something that like is personally offensive to me. In that, you know how in the original Space Jam, it's got its little prologue of Michael Jordan in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
So in this, it's LeBron James in the 90s, and he's playing a Game Boy. And then his coach, played by what's his name from The Wire, Avon Barksdale, is his coach.
I didn't pick that up.
Tells him stop playing his Game Boy and throws the Game Boy in the bin.
Game over.
Really didn't appreciate that. I was like,
these are very specific criticisms, Bryan.
Yeah, like
but no one does that.
Nobody does, and like. But
LeBron James did, and look at him now.
But see, the thing is, they use the Game Boy because he's playing Bugs Bunny in Crazy Castle, which I was like, that is really clever. And because I knew the video game thing was going to come up again, I was like, that's a really great way to tie it in at the beginning. Fuck the Game Boy in the bin. And it's just like, they made a film to annoy me. Really not happy with this film.
Can't argue with that.
Like, all the stuff in this film was made to hurt Bryan.
Yeah, I see. That's how I thought I was going to feel about it. But I was just like, yeah, this is a stupid movie. And like, it's nowhere near as good as the original Space Jam. But I also didn't want to go into it being like, it's not like Space Jam 1, because I feel like that would make me crazy. Like, no offense, Bryan.
Who were the references aimed for? Because as someone who's just seen
people who buy pop.
Okay.
Yes.
But like I've seen the Matrix one, and that's like, okay, is this for the 30-year-olds who watched the original one? Are they trying to reference stuff for children now?
I don't think this is a film for children. And like it is a children's movie, but I think this is a film. This is a nostalgia miner.
Yeah,
okay.
It is.
Yeah.
Like it's got the Droogs from Clockwork Orange in it for some reason.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're the 30-something-year-old bringing your own kids to this. And forcing your own nostalgia to be there.
You don't even, if we're going to be real, you probably don't have kids.
No, I'm pretty sure this film is for someone who has HBO Max and has watched a large amount of the library and goes, oh, look, this is the new thing that's out on Friday, and they just stick it on.
Yeah.
It's because that, like, the bit where they're real careful about the Harry Potter shit as well, where, like, they have LeBron and he goes to Hogwarts and he gets assigned Ravenclaw and then he leaves again. Or Hufflepuff, yeah. Shit.
Bryan.
But like, they're really careful about that because, you know, it's Harry Potter and that shit's toxic.
Yeah, I don't know if that. Do you think that was it?
I bet they
had to cram so much shit in there.
I bet there was more, because like that's a popular IP that they just.
Well, they gave him a Hufflepuff. They give him Hufflepuff.
He wears Hufflepuff clothes.
So that's a real like meh house anyway. So they really wanted to move them out of it.
People get so like I don't give a shit about Harry Potter, but people get so into being from Hufflepuff, and I don't understand it. It's like, dude, why are you calling yourself a fucking loser?
Because it's all they have as losers.
Oh, that's the one thing I'm not adding up. Yeah. But like I liked how LeBron's like, we have to play properly, and then the Looney Tunes are like, we can't fucking do that, LeBron. Yeah, because they even say fucking. It's weird.
Like John, at the very beginning when he's talking to his kids, he goes, do you think basketball is a game? But like, It is a game, LeBron.
That is kind of the moral of the movie, Brian.
Like, it's a game.
That's his epiphany at the end of the movie.
But just at the very beginning, and I remember the quote because I quoted it back to Rebecca, and he was like, "No, he doesn't go. Do you think basketball is just a game?" Which is different. He goes. Do you think basketball is a game?
Well, Michael Jordan probably doesn't think basketball is a game.
I'd love if they tried to get him to do that line like 10 times, and they're like, "No, just a game," and he kept saying,
"No, it's a game."
Just rewrite the rest of the movie.
It is a game.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a big thumbs up from Space Jam 2 from both myself and Brian.
Absolutely, big. Like, the thumbs go up so high that they curl all the way down to my ass, and I just die inside.
How many Ready Player Ones is Space Jam 2?
Do you know what,
Brian? If you said you like this better.
I think I need to watch them both back to back in like my own personal hell.
Why would you ever watch Ready Player 1 again or whatever the fuck that film? Okay. That is the worst cinema experience I've ever had.
Like, John, you know how Ready Player 1, they have that bit with The Shining and you died?
Yeah.
The bit with the Game Boy in Space Jam 2 was
just throws a fucking Game Boy in the bin, Brian.
Who does that to a Game Boy?
The best damn basketball player in the entire world, next to Michael Jordan. I like LeBron James as well. He does a good meditation series.
He is very good at talking to, you know, a placeholder that will be filled in by an animated character.
That Bugs Bunny voice actor was not good.
He's like Bugs' main voice for the last like 20 years, I think. Really?
Because I felt like
Eric Boazza, I think his name.
I have not watched Bugs Bunny in a long time, but I felt like it was a good Bugs Bunny impression, but with none of the like classic confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it's weird how it goes 2D as well, and LeBron isn't in the film physically for a good 45 minutes.
Oh yeah,
because they have cartoon LeBron. Because maybe he was busy.
Superman's in it, Niamh. Batman's in it.
Gross.
Yeah, it's weird.
Warner Brothers and their 2D rights.
Yeah,
I hate these kind of movies. I hate these team up movies.
I think this is a new genre.
I think you should watch that Wreck-It Ralph sequel.
Just wait.
No, I can't do it. Brian, no.
It's so frustrating.
As an animator, I find that movie just hideously offensive.
Just you wait for the Fortnite movie, Niamh.
Oh, so much IP. Everybody's here. And nobody's anything good to say.
But that is kind of the problem. It is just all becoming this like culture slime. You know, everything is just in everything.
At least with Smash Bros. Ultimate, they pace it out. Get like a new character, every like 3 or 4 months.
We're never getting Waluigi. Not now that everything's on the table.
Okay, there's one character left, and I know we can't change our guesses, but I actually had like a dream the other day that the last character came out, and it was the sandbag from Smash. And it was like, guys, he's finally getting his revenge.
I think that would be incredible. I would lose my mind.
I just think that'd be so funny. It'd
be so funny.
Because the sandbag's been in that game for like so many like iterations.
Do you know half the joy of like a new Smash announcement is just watching everyone get mad?
Yeah.
Like, you know what?
The Minecraft one.
I'll take another Fire Emblem character. I just want to see people lose their shit.
I love when Sakurai explains Minecraft again or Fire Emblem again. Like he's like, no, it's this strategy JRPG series made by Intelligence. You probably haven't heard of it.
Oh god. Strategy talk. Hear noise in the background, you had to crack a window because it's unusually warm.
It's like cold and then it's balmy and I don't know what it's trying to be.
It's not good. I don't know what to wear to bed at all these days.
Is close an expression that people outside of Ireland use?
No, fuck them, it's close.
Yeah, it's close.
It's real touch and go.
Real touch and go. Guys, I played Final Fantasy VII Remake, Intergrade, INTERmission, Yuffie DLC side story.
Thank you, John.
No problem.
The game deserves its respect.
Yeah. I had played a little sliver of this, we'll say, before the last episode, and I was really impressed by what I saw. And let me tell you, the good feelings stop there.
Oh, really?
Yes. The best thing about this... Okay, there's 2 good parts to this. One I'll get to in a little bit. The first is just Yuffie. They have done Yuffie really well. both like aesthetically, she looks great. I think her voice actor, I'm pretty sure it's Morgana from Persona 5, Bryan.
I believe it is, yes.
But she's just really cool. Like, she's not weird. Like, I remember seeing the trailer and I saw her running around with like her arms out by her sides, and I was like, oh god, they're making her like a weird little infantile, gross anime girl. That's just what she looks like when she's balancing on a beam. And I was like, okay. And like, for a while, her gameplay is really fun as well. It's like, you know, you basically, because she's the only character you can control, you can give orders to Sonin, I think his name is. I might be mispronouncing that, but to people who are going to correct me in the comments, I really need to stress this. I don't fucking care. So, and for the start, it's good. This DLC is 4 hours long, and it's 20 quid. And that's okay if those are a fucking killer 4 hours. Boy, are they not.
Okay.
And I thought it would be longer than this, because it starts with like Chapter 1, the prologue. There's 2 chapters.
You cannot have a prologue with 2 chapters.
Why don't you just do like part A and part B, or side A and side B?
No,
like,
side A and side B would have been fine.
Just pace it mentally.
So when the point of no return for this is the end of Chapter 1.
Oh my god.
So
okay.
it's like you're basically going off to Shinra, and someone's like, might not be coming back to Midgar for a while. And I'm like, okay, I guess this next chapter is going to be really long. That is the chapter. The combat was fun for a little bit. It's basically, I think I talked about this a little bit last time, but you can throw Yuffie can melee with her star, or she can throw it, and when she throws it, her regular attacks become like magic, and you can switch to like fire ninjutsu, thunder ninjutsu, ice ninjutsu, wind ninjutsu. The problem is that exploiting weaknesses was a big part of Final Fantasy VII Remake, and a part of that was materia was kind of like, it was rare, and magic was hard to get, and like, you know, you had to spend points to be like, okay, I need to spend an action point to do this fire attack, but you need to spend a point to switch Yuffie to fire magic, and from there you literally just pelt your enemy with fire until they're dead. And you stagger them, but it doesn't matter, because when you stagger them, all you're gonna do is keep jamming on the fire button. There's no like decision to be made. It's literally like, scan the enemy, they're weak to that, switch to that. And we're like, you know, in Final Fantasy, in the remake original, all the characters had so many different ways you could play them. It was really easy and interesting to like come up with tactics that refilled your ATB really fast and got you hitting them with another big spell, or, you know, trying to link materia to your weapons to give them like fire effects and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then that was really awkward to switch out from, and you might have to like, it might leave you really good against this enemy in this fight, but in the same fight there might be a different enemy. So it was like, there was a lot of like tuning and balancing that does not happen here.
But also, I think because of the limited enemy variety in it, it kind of got to a point as well where you kind of knew what to do, and you didn't have that.
Especially for how long some of those like sections were.
It overstays its welcome
every time, and especially in like the last third. If you thought that was a problem in like regular remake, oh my fucking god,
that's so disappointing.
This becomes like, I criticized Remake for being a hallway RPG, especially in like its last third. This is just on, and just like the same couple of enemies and just hitting them with fire. And like, it's a shame, because like in the opening section there's like really nice cinematics, and it's really well directed, and it gives me that feeling, like, gives me the Yakuza 0 feeling, where everywhere I go there's something weird and cool for me to see. And that started to fade so quickly. And like, there's more side stuff I could have done that I didn't do, because it's the point of no return. And so like, as a game, as a $20 game, I don't think this is good. As a story, it's fucking shite.
Oh no.
It's not good. So, okay, you meet Sonin. What's Sonin's deal? He used to have a sister who looks like Yuffie.
You remind me of someone special.
That's so annoying. Why can't someone just be motivated by like, you look like you're in trouble and I want to help, not like, you remind me of someone I care about, and thus I care about you.
Yeah.
And she's dead and you're not.
It is a really... well done, Bryan. You figured out the next part of the story. And So, okay, that's Sonen's story. So what's Yuffie's story? And the answer is that she doesn't fucking have one. At least not outside, like, the larger narrative of Final Fantasy VII. She's showing up to assassinate someone and in Shinra. And you don't... Well, it sounds like that at the start, and then it sounds like she's just there to steal materia, and it's really not clear what's happening.
Oh, dear.
Then... you break into Shinra and like the writing is so fucking bad. It's like there's this bit where Scarlet shows up and she's like, "Welcome to my lair," you know, all that shit. And Sonen turns around. Sonen, this fucking ninja who has broke into Shinra, looks at her and goes, "What do you want from us?" And it's like, you've broken into
my house. Get out.
Like that's the level of writing where it's not genuine exchanges between these characters, because why would Sonen say that? It's just like,
this is what the base game is like.
No, it's not.
Everyone just says words. No one has conversations.
No, there was good conversation and they high-fived Niamh and it was sweet.
Everyone just loves those characters and they're blinded to the bad dialogue.
I was not blinded this time. Sonen, like at the start he seems okay because he's kind of stoic. Like he's not really like a Kingdom Hearts character. He's just like a mercenary and he calls Yuffie boss, and it's like, oh, maybe like a kind of cute little like dynamic's going to develop between these two. It just turns into a really fucking creepy little sister thing, to the point that Yuffie will be like, "I'm not your little sister," and it's like, this is fucking
Shh, Susan. No more speaking.
You know, and it's just like, I'm going to spoil this now. I really do not recommend people play this, even if you really liked Final Fantasy VII Remake. I wouldn't recommend this at all. But you get to the end of it, and the big surprise is that the boss is from Dirge of Cerberus.
Hell yeah!
It's some bondage dude. I don't know.
That grave got dug up. We got to just keep it going.
Yeah, and they've rendered 2 highly detailed Dirge of Cerberus models, so can't wait for the second part of the remake.
Well, it'll probably be the Vincent DLC, won't it?
Vincent better not be fucking
Vincent's Coffin Cruise. You don't want to do it?
Bryan.
Yeah, it's just like, that's Bloodborne Racer. It's like Vincent in a coffin car.
No.
But
you gotta build up your gems.
You get the end of it. Sonen saves Yuffie from dying because he couldn't save his shit sister, and then she runs out of like Shinra screaming and crying.
Okay, but when does this take place to Remake? Is it like a few hours before? During Remake.
So Yuffie gets out of Shinra. So
do the plates fall?
Yuffie gets out of Shinra, runs out of Shinra screaming, crying, and the first thing she sees is the plate falling.
Okay.
And the plate falling looks fucking amazing. There's a really beautiful shot of Yuffie just like looking, and it like pulls out just this big wide shot. Should have maybe had that in the main game. And that's when we get the post-credit cutscenes, and the first of which is my other favorite part of this game. And all it is Zack, Cloud, Aeris... No, not Zack. Cloud, Aeris, Tifa, Red 13, and Barret hitchhiking along a road. And They have a conversation about hitchhiking. I thought it was entertaining. It was cool.
And they have highly rendered locations of like Nibelheim and stuff off in the distance, don't they? And you're like, someone works so hard on that place we won't go.
Yeah. Oh, well, like, I mean...
I said about the main game as well. Their far away environmental shots are all gorgeous. Yeah. Their close-up stuff is garbage. What's going on?
Yeah. And then we get a shot of Zack.
This was fucking brilliant.
And he goes to Aerith's church.
And there's survivors in there.
And there's a bunch of children in there, which is gonna... I don't know. I think this was bad, and the end of Final Fantasy VII Remake left such a bad I was kind of like... I played it very nonchalantly on this podcast, so no one probably knows that I disliked the ending of Final Fantasy VII Remake, but I did, and this... has made me lose more faith. But I'm a fucking idiot, so I'm gonna buy part 2. And I'm gonna be upset about it all over again. And do you know the worst part? I'm gonna act surprised. But it's all here. Like, I'm gonna forget that I'm saying this by the time part 2 comes out. And I'm gonna have like righteous indignation again. And that's wrong. Because if I had any sense, I'd just walk away. But I can't.
I really like the cycle of all this where the first hour or so wins you over and then it just beats you down.
For the first 30 minutes. Yeah. First 30 minutes of 4 hours. And
you're just like, this has
they're doing it.
The character models are gorgeous.
The character models are so nice.
This has potential to be shit.
Shut up, dog. Shut up, dog.
The dog's always going.
Yeah. That's the Yuffie DLC. I put off playing it for a long time because I thought it might make me sad. And here we are. Niamh, tell us about Going Under.
Going Under is a rogue-like. Is that what they're called? Oh, a Hades-like. It is a Hades-like where you play as an intern working at a fizzy pop startup company.
Fantastic.
You were hired as a marketing assistant, but when you arrive there, you're told to go kill a goblin. And you go and kill the goblin, and the guy who hired you was like, okay, I need you to go down to the dungeon and kill. There's probably around 3 or 4 more in there. Please kill them for me. And the intern is like, no, you hired me for marketing. And he was just like, yeah, but like, we'll wait and for that, like that job will come up. Like in the meantime, I need you to do this stuff. And she's like, no, I did not sign up to kill goblins.
It's a startup. You gotta wear multiple hats.
And he's just like, oh, okay. I just thought from your like CV that you were kind of up for challenges.
This is how they get you.
But like we've other people we can, get to do this. So she's like, fuck, my shitty unpaid internship is slipping between my fingers. And she's like, no, look, I'll do it. I'll go down. And so starts a procedurally generated roguelike that has kind of bits of Breath of the Wild in it, where you can pick up anything and use it as a weapon. So you can have office equipment like keyboards, computer screens, chairs, plants, succulents, coffee cans, and there's also weapons like big swords and mallets and things with spikes in them. And you start beating these goblins and killing them, and they're dressed up in their like little hats, and they're just wearing normal worker clothes as well. And in the dungeon, you realize that is a little cistern of unpaid intern goblins populating the area.
Oh, that's really good and depressing.
Every time you come to the surface, you're back in the main office, which has loads of stuff like a slide and like bean bags, but you're not being paid. And you meet the CAO, who's told you that we've sold the company Fizzy to a AI conglomerate and we're making so much money, still not paying you. And we've all these new tasks, and you meet everyone else who works there. There's the tastemaker who designs all the different fizzes, and there's a coder who works there, there's a cleaner, and there's just like a bunch of different people, and you help them gather stuff up as well in the dungeon. Like someone might want a coffee maker, or the fizzy guy might want to try experiments. So you start to see their little working world as well, and as the company is slowly being taken over by this conglomerate, they're all being pushed out of their jobs by the AI. So it's like intern culture smashed into a roguelike with really fun gameplay that kind of feels like Totally Accurate Battle Sister and Totally Accurate Battle
Simulator.
Tabs, where it kind of has like, it has a loose feel to it. They feel like claymation characters. Yeah, they're really like
real floppy.
Yeah, real floppy, and they're like real basic shapes, like a ball for a head kind of thing, and big cylinders for arms, and it just looks gorgeous. And it's so fun because it's satirical of like just internships, but it's also satirical of the art style used in corporate art. So it's that like limited color palette, kind of happy, sunny art, but kind of art directed all the way.
It's like an art devoid of culture.
Yeah, but this is like loads of like internet culture on top of that kind of thing. So it looks like a Pinterest board meets like just animation sensibilities. It's like, it's beautiful looking. It's a lovely looking game. There's really nice texturing and dithering on stuff. I've been having a great fun time with it. The weapons all have durability, so you kind of have to think about the weapons you use. You can throw weapons. You get like different power-ups every time you go down to the goblin dungeon. Like I had one where if I rolled under a desk, it would explode the desk after me, and
brilliant.
Just a lot of fun roguelike elements, but with this internship veneer that just doesn't feel like it's pasted over it. It feels very built from it.
That's cool.
And I've been having a really great time with it.
I'm gonna give that another shot. I have it downloaded and I played a little bit of it, but you know, do you ever sometimes, like, especially around the big sales, you buy like 4 or 5 things and then play one of them and they'll just kind of fall.
Yeah, the others kind of just get buried a bit. How cruel and unforgiving is this as a roguelike? Like, is the game difficult?
I haven't played a lot of roguelikes. There is an assist mode, so if people are finding it difficult, they can switch it off just to enjoy the story elements of it. I haven't tried the assist mode, so I don't really know how in-depth it is. I'm finding it fun, but I have not cleared the first dungeon yet, the goblin one. I'm always getting stuck on that last boss, but the more times I'm doing it, the more I'm leveling up different, like the different things you can find on the floor. The more you get them, the more they level up. So
there's permanent changes as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can unlock stuff from the office as well that will then appear in the dungeon. So the more I do it and the more tricks I learn, because like beforehand I was just, you know, hitting things, and then afterwards I learned I could throw stuff, and then I got a buff that would, anything I threw would turn into explosive kind of thing. So it was constantly building on itself in the way that roguelikes do.
Sounds like it's doing that like through a lot of mechanics as well, which I really like, because I much prefer that to like +2 attack.
Yes.
And yeah, stack and blend them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're all like, they're fun things. Like there's one that I found really great is like every time you enter a room, everyone falls over. So everyone's down. So it kind of gives you a chance to wail on some people. And some of the enemies really are good in like little cars, and they're really hard to deal with because they're driving around small office spaces in their tiny little car. And then you can get into the car and drive around.
Oh, that's cool.
Another thing, like kind of a mount that you can use is a froggy...
Space hopper thing.
No, pogo stick with a frog on the front of it, and that's really good because it kind of, you can clear enemies and just jump on their heads.
Jumping is good.
So there's like, I've only found that once. So there's a bunch of like fun little things, and then people who you work with will give you tasks. Like one of the girls, the coffee machine's broken, so she's like, well, look, if you're down there and you find one, and there's a coffee machine there, but it's always $60, but I never make $60 on my first run to get it, so I haven't figured out how to buy the coffee machine. But I'm invested in doing it.
You will, Niamh. I believe in you.
Gorgeous style. Just looks great. Looks amazing. Looks like a Pinterest board for graphic design. But with its own twist on everything.
Yeah. Cool.
It's on Game Pass. If people have that and want to try it out.
Real quick. Guys, I'm back on the Duel Links. The Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links.
Are you playing the mobile version?
Yes.
Are you going to challenge Rebecca?
Yes.
Are you building your deck, or are you stalling? What's happening, John?
I'm building my deck.
Jesus Christ.
What's wrong?
Your move.
This game has a nefarious hold on me. I love it. It's great. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a fantastic card game, but it is in my mind like few games get. And it's to the point where I'm at the point where it's like, this is stopping me from doing other things I want to do, you know?
Oh yeah, I'm seeing it firsthand.
Yeah, it is so addictive and it is so much fun, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Players are the fucking worst. I have never seen so many rage quits. I have played like hundreds of matches of Guilty Gear. Not one person has rage quit against me. I have had so many rage quits in Yu-Gi-Oh! This makes that sign that went up on Games World make sense. You know, the no adult Yu-Gi-Oh! Sign.
Yeah, because of all the racial slurs.
Yeah. Yu-Gi-Oh! Players are terrible, but I am having so much fun. And I'm really resisting the urge to intricately describe how I won a big match, but I'm just saying there was a Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, a regular Blue Eyes Dragon, and another regular Blue Eyes Dragon, and I had nothing except one spell card, and I fucking won. And it was beautiful. No one should play this game. It's very dangerous.
Have you spent money on it?
No. And I'm not going to. It's actually, like, in terms of the money side of it, like, for me, it's fine. Like, it's like, okay, I know how to get, like, enough gems to get my cards. But I mean, like, I'm also not a whale. And I think if you have that kind of personality, if you have my thing where you really love playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And you have, like, an addictive personality, this game, you should run so far from this game. But I also kind of love this. It's keeping me off social media, and, you know, that's a good thing. Also, real quick, and I really, really wanted to have played more of this, but I didn't because I played more Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. I downloaded the Ace Attorney Chronicles.
Oh, yes. Just came out.
I've only played literally the first 20 minutes. It seems every bit as cool and charming as the original Phoenix Wright games. I was a little reluctant to see like it go to like 3D, even though they've already done a 3D Phoenix Wright, because like I just love that pixel art so much. But I think what was so great about that pixel art is like you would get these very like limited set of animations that just had so much love and personality poured into them. One of my favorite animations of all time is Von Karma from the second game, her just like smacking the desk with her fist. It's like the animation has like 7 frames maybe, but every one of them is so just perfect. And you know, Phoenix stamping the desk, like all those little movements, they look so good. And they've retained that style for this game. Like just because it's 3D doesn't mean they've done like these big, I don't want to say elaborate, because they are elaborate animations. Like there's a lot of detail and they're really beautiful, but they're really limited in a way that's so fucking cool. And it just looks awesome. And it was $40 and you get 2 games, which is about 50 hours of gameplay. And I'm really looking forward to talking about that more. Bryan.
Yes.
Skyward Sword.
No, I want to talk one more fucking beef about Space Jam.
Okay, go for it.
Space Jam 2. Okay, Lola Bunny's in it, and she's...
Okay, Bryan, I can listen. You can fuck the new Lola Bunny. You can do it. It's fine.
All her lines were done by the original voice actress, Kat Susi, and then in post production they redubbed her with Zendaya just to pull in a bigger crowd.
Who is Zendaya?
She's a singer,
an actress,
an actress and a singer.
She's a triple threat.
Yeah, because
probably quadruple. She can do a lot. She's really amazing.
Cool. She can dance because she's in Shake It Up, which is a show I watched.
But that sucks. I hate that that's happening to kind of legacy voice actors. Like that really annoys me about like Capcom not using can't think of the word, union voice actors, and just kind of shunting people to the side. But that really sucks.
I know they're making a new Chicken Run, and the woman who voiced the main chicken, they're not getting her back because apparently she's too old.
It's bullshit. And she proved them wrong because she did the voice.
That's really sad.
I know. Anyway, that's crap.
Yep, that sucks.
You're right, John. Bryan.
You're right, John. She said it.
You're right, Bryan. This movie is bad.
Do you know what isn't as bad as I once thought was? Skyward Sword.
I loved the fluidity of that segue.
The real cosmic apprehension of it all.
Do you actually like this, Bryan?
Yes and no.
I think it's so funny that Nintendo made you all buy a game you didn't like again in the hopes it would be better somehow.
Okay,
Bryan, take us on a journey here. How'd you get there?
The way I convinced myself I was going to buy this game was, we're going to play it, and you're going to trade it in, because later on in the year there's a couple of Switch games, and GameStop are going to have a deal, and they're going to have a bunch of games on a list, and one of those games on the list is going to be Skyward Sword. So it's like you're playing it and paying it forward onto this other game that you actually want to play. So, you know, it's just a temporary problem in your house that you're going to get rid of.
Now, Bryan, like, I do understand that, and I do respect your way of doing things, but, like, what do you get out of that? Because I feel like you don't want to play. You just described it as a problem in my house.
Do you know what? I'm actually really glad I played it, because health-wise I'm not doing very good, and there's something very not so much comforting, but just kind of calming about playing a game you've already played and you know what to expect of it.
Even if it's that you don't like it?
I dislike it less. Which
is that because the game has changed or you have?
I've definitely changed. And okay, Skyward Sword is a game that came out in late 2011. I'm going to say November. Late 2011, a lot of interesting games came out. Skyrim, Saints Row the Third, Dark Souls.
Fuck.
Like, that was a very particular era of video gaming where I guess the Xbox 360 and PS3 were at their, like, peak, essentially. You know, like, they were still about 2 or 3 years out of, you know, being outdated by the new system, but, like, the games that were pushing the hardware were coming out. Meanwhile, the Wii releases a new Legend of Zelda, and Legend of Zelda mainline console games come out every 5 to 6 years, and this is the one for the beginning of the 2010s. And the following one was essentially Breath of the Wild, which came out in 2017. I know there was a 3DS game in between, but like, you know, home console Zelda game, Skyward Sword, and this was a Wii Motion Plus game, and it was just bound to the Wii in terms of motion controls. Yeah. So it's very interesting to see this get a port on the Switch, and they've managed to remap the controls to a normal controller, and I'm playing this with the Switch Pro controller. For the most part, the button mapping is decent. It's not good. I still have a lot of problems. So, the way this works is, it's a Legend of Zelda game. You play as Link, and you've got to be the hero, and you've got to save the princess. It's a Zelda game. And the main gimmick of this game is that Link's sword is very interactive in terms of its, like, spatial awareness. You can
waggle it.
You could steer the sword in any direction, and you use the right stick on the controller to do so. The right stick is usually used to control a camera in a 3D environment game. So, what Nintendo have done, I think this is real fucking stupid. To control, and so, also in the Wii game, you could not control the camera. All you could do was snap it behind Link's back. You couldn't freely control the camera, which made dungeon puzzles and solving 3D spatial awareness situations very difficult because you couldn't look around your environment unless you pointed Link at it. They've successfully managed to do that. Now you can freely control the camera, and you can steer it in and out, whatever you want. You need to hold down the left bumper to do so. Because if you move around the control stick without it, Link sticks his sword out and starts waving it.
Oh, Bryan, this is making me sad.
Now, I'd say about 90% of this game, you do not need your sword equipped. But for 100% of this game, the game thinks you do. Which is not... I don't know if there's button remapping in this game or how much accessibility there is in it. Probably not a lot because this is a motion control riddled game. But then other sections, like when you're on your Loftwing, the bird, that's you play that with traditional controls, whereas originally you had to wank the Wiimote. I can't think of a better, like that. Like you just had to, you had to move around.
No More Heroes is the game where you wank the Wiimote.
Oh yeah, but at least that they made
they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, they did. But I guess the problem
What's
is
wrong, Niamh?
I was playing and I was like, God, Niamh and John would fucking hate this. Niamh, especially Niamh. I was like, Niamh, you would fucking hate this.
I've seen some videos of it and I hate how it looks and moves.
I'm kind of mixed on the visuals. Sometimes I like the visuals because of how colorful the world looks.
I think a lot of the characters look like when you decide to fuck around in a character creator. And you give them like big long duck lips.
Yeah, a lot of them are very bug-eyed, and the transition to HD has not done them a good job. They really look like Kingdom Hearts port characters. I know they really look annoying. I'm not a fan of how they look, but I do like the environments in terms of how the dungeons look, because most dungeons in Zelda games are just castle walls. Whereas in this, they're very fluorescent and vibrant and oversaturated, but in a good way. But this game is a very long game. It's over 30 hours long, and I kind of divide this game in my head into 3 10-hour chunks. First 10 hours of this game are certainly improved compared to the original. You can now skip certain sections, and NPCs that used to grab your attention are now all optional, including your talking sword that used to tell you everything.
Does she ever not suck?
She's not as annoying. Like unfortunately, she's still in the game, but
because like the thing that bothered me about her was like not even how much she talks to you, just that she was shit. Like her entire character was like, Link, you have an 80% chance of succeeding.
She still does that.
Okay, that's it.
Like, she's less shit. She's still shit though.
Yeah.
Her name's Fi. She's your talking sword companion. She is the spirit of the Master Sword, and she will jump out and talk to you. And she's supposed to be like a reference to Hatsune Miku because her voice is kind of like distorted and garbled. She looks and sounds like a Vocaloid. And for the first 10 hours of this game, I remember not enjoying the first 10 hours, but this time around...
Sorry, can I just... Who's Fi for? Who looks at Fi and is like, that's an awesome character?
I don't know.
Okay, sorry.
But this time around, the first 10 hours were slightly improved because I could skip ahead and get to where I needed to go.
So it was improved because you could move through it faster?
Yep.
Okay.
And the first 3
you
dungeons...
have to play less of it.
And the first 3 dungeons of Zelda are decent. And you know what? Fair fucks to the dungeons in this game because it has dungeons and they're good. Breath of the Wild does not have good dungeons except for the DLC dungeon, which I really liked, but that's DLC and, you know...
I'll shit on Skyward Sword all day. That Golden Thread dungeon is awesome.
That's the Ancient Cistern.
Yeah.
Okay, so the 4th, 5th, and 6th dungeons, which take place in the kind of middle third of the game, the kind of the 10 to 20 hour gap. Like, you know how sometimes you play a game and you're like, that's a bad game, but if you could, like, take this, cross-section out and isolate it and just have it be its own thing.
Yeah.
That is the game firing all cylinders, and it's amazing. The Ancient Cistern is one of the best dungeons ever in a Zelda game.
Totally, like, brilliant.
And the boss battle is absolutely amazing.
Oh, it's fucking great.
Fight this automaton with loads of arms.
We've talked about that boss battle so many times on this podcast.
It's fucking amazing, and like, to play that when you're not feeling well, it was very comforting and nostalgic. And like, God, this game is so nostalgic because like, it came out 10 years ago when I was in a different point in my life, and I can remember buying this game and what I was thinking at the time, and like, I just have very different thoughts in my mind.
We were just out of college, weren't we?
Yeah, we were kind of starting our first jobs, and we were all working together in the same studio at the time.
I remember playing it, and Michelle said to me, "You always look really sad when you play this game."
Yeah, because for you, like, it came out at the same time as Dark Souls, and it was like, well, Dark Souls was the better Zelda for you.
Yeah, I was like, this is Zelda now.
Yeah.
And I was right.
Yeah. And like, it's so weird now because like Zelda looks at games like Skyrim as like how to make a game, because like Skyward Sword is a GameCube game. Like, that's all it is. Because the Wii is GameCube hardware. This is a GameCube game. This is just a mishmash of Wind Waker and Twilight Princess.
Do you remember that presentation they did a while ago where they were like, "Oh, listen, we had to do Skyward Sword to get to Breath of the Wild, guys. So just, give it a chance." And so,
the studio that made this was outsourced to an Australian studio that also did the port of Twilight Princess. This is not made by Nintendo.
I did not know that, and boy, does that explain a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, the middle third of this game is absolutely fantastic, and I would not say anything nasty about it. It's just amazing.
Okay.
Then the last third, you are between the 6th and the 7th final dungeon. There is a huge amount of just back and forth fetch questing and fighting the same boss over and over because it keeps returning. This thing called the Imprisoned that looks really lackluster.
Oh, I hate that thing.
And it just sucks the wind out of any like motivation and energy and momentum. And I'm kind of into that part of the game. So it's like, it's this weird roller coaster where it's just kind of shitty and then it's amazing and then it's just kind of... And I can remember getting to this point of the game and I stopped playing the game. But this time I'm trying to persevere through it. But the only thing that's making me persevere is the more comfortable controls. But I'm going to play this game and then I'm going to take it out of my life again and never speak of it.
Wow.
It's a game.
I mean, I'm glad you kind of had like the epiphany about the middle third being good, because like that dungeon I played was really cool.
Because it's the ancient sister, and then you have the pirate ship, and that's a fantastic dungeon as well. Then you just have like a lava dungeon, but like the way it's done is you enter into the dungeon and you can see the boss door at the opposite end, but you have to zigzag your way through. And I just think that's really fun puzzle dungeon design, where you're always going like 3/4 of the way around, and then you make shortcuts. Like all of that stuff is really cleverly designed.
Yeah. So guys, I played a visual novel called Seiya no Uta, or Song of Seiya. Niamh, don't look it up.
No, I need to.
Please.
Let's have a look at what John did.
Don't no. Like there's there's a story, and this is by Gen Urobuchi, the guy who did. This is something he did before he did Madoka, before he did Psycho Pass.
Whoa!
And I really like Madoka, and I really like Psycho Pass, so I was like, I'll play this.
Lovecraftian horror visual novel. This sounds like it would be your thing.
Yeah.
With erotic content.
This.
Oh.
So, this is something that like had been recommended to me a couple of times, and I was curious, and so I started playing it, and it starts off really, really strong in that you are this dude, and you are in a room covered in organs, and you are talking to 3 basically horrific slime monsters, and they have all these fucked up appendages and all this kind of stuff. They are speaking to you like you're a normal human, or like you're one of them, and their voices are all fucked up and distorted, and you are trying not to freak out. And like when I say you're not doing anything. It's a visual novel. You're just hitting go, 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 go.
Yeah.
And it's disturbing. It's really, really disturbing. And the story that starts to unfold is basically you're this dude who was in a car crash a couple of months back. Your parents were killed, and when you woke up, you had to like undergo like emergency brain surgery. And when you woke up, your perception of the world had changed, and now everything is basically covered in just like organs and is like flesh, and it looks horrible. And some of the visuals are really, really striking. Like if you like when you're in the city, it's basically just these towers of just flesh and pulp against just a jet black sky, and it looks like a nightmare. And like the aesthetic of it as well is real like early 2000s kind of like PS2 PS1 artwork. You know, like it's that kind of anime, and there's something really bleak about it that I kind of dug. And like the atmosphere of it is pretty fantastic universally. It has great music. A lot of the writing's pretty sharp, and I was having a good time with it. And then you go home, and there's this girl there, and she's about, I'd say, 13 or 14 years old. And she is the only thing in the world that he can see that isn't basically these horrifying flesh monsters. And it kind of... I think I'm going to drop a content warning here, and I'm just going to put down a universal blanket content warning for anything and everything, because this is a hentai game, and it is a really, really, like, Bryan, I know you were saying about like Homunculus being like edgy shit, but you know the way you're also kind of like going with Homunculus, this is like the good edgy.
Oh yeah, no, like the edgy, well, some of the edgy in Homunculus is punching up.
Yeah.
Which is good.
None of the edge of Seiya no Uta is punching up. It is... like, I don't want to say, like, it's shocking or whatever, because I feel like the shocking shit in this game, you could find it in a million doujinshi. Like, it's not doing anything ambitious. Basically, this dude is in a relationship with this little girl, like a sexual romantic relationship. And it is... You know, like, I'm not even gonna fucking get into that, because, like, if someone's like, no, that's cool, me saying it's not is not going to convince them otherwise. But it's like, it is a real game about like depravity, but not in a way that I feel like it has much to say about depravity. It's just characters doing awful things to each other over and over and over and over. There was like points about it that like I kind of took away and liked. Like, I do think the idea that this dude is trapped in this like nightmare perception of the world, and there's like one person who he can see that like is a positive force in his life. There was something kind of sweet about that sentiment, but like it's pretty dire in places. And I played through the rest of it out of a kind of morbid curiosity, because I was like, I need to see where this is going. And a lot of horrific shit goes down, and it's just like, you know, it's a lot of sexual assault. It like a dude kills his family, all this fucking stuff happens. And then I got to the end of it and I was like, okay, I need to see what people are saying about this game. And so I checked the Steam reviews, and it turns out I had played the censored version of the game. And I was like, oh my fucking god. And so I looked up some scenes of the uncensored version, and like, I played a porn game. I just didn't realize it was a porn game until right at the end. And it's tricky because it's this kind of game, like, it's infamous in certain circles online, but I feel like it's also the kind of game that unless you are into those circles and unless you are into what those circles deal in, you're not going to find this game. But I feel like that means the conversation around it is really one way. Like, people think, and like, I'm really not saying this to shit on people, because I don't want to shit on people for getting a lot out of something, but I've seen so many, like, Seiya no Uta is like the deepest shit in the world, you know, and like it really makes you think about morality and perception and all this kind of stuff. I will grant you, there is some genuine good solid cosmic horror in here. Like there is moments where like it is cool and interesting, and there's some great body horror, but the idea that characters repeatedly doing fucked up things to each other is like meaningful in any way.
No, I think there's a way to shock the reader,
yeah,
but to do it like, and like shocking someone is going to be tasteless, but there's got to be like something where it's a flavor that you can kind of digest.
Like, I'm fine with being shocked if you're like coming at it in a clever way, and like there's so much like edgy stupid bullshit I like, but with this it's like I really struggle to see how someone can say like, this isn't my porn.
I think it's like a real genre problem, because I think that happens when you get deep into horror movies as well, where the deeper you go, there's less stuff, so more people champion them in this really
and like,
extreme way.
I guess what I'm saying right now is going to piss some people off because like they love it, but it's like, I really don't think it has anything like meaningful to say. Like it's like I was shocked a couple of times playing it for sure, but I also like, I've also read like, you know, doujin hentai, and there's nothing in that isn't in this, you know. And it's like, some of the writing's really good, like especially the like some of the early dialogue and like the way they kind of frame some characters. There's this really beautiful passage about this man who's a painter, and it talks about how he likes to keep his entire house just humming like a machine. And it's a really interesting little caricature of this side character. Things do not go well for him. But then, like, there's also, you know, characters' abilities change. Like, this character who has these kind of supernatural powers is able to do this in this scene, but not this in this scene. And it's like, there's like inconsistencies in the story like that, and that bothers me. But I think if I found this when I was like a really edgy teenager, part of me would have been like, yeah, this is the real shit. But you know, it's like one of my favorite quotes about art, and I think I said this recently on this podcast, comes from Itoi, the guy who makes Mother, and he says that like the way he sees art is the artist creates 50% of it, the audience brings 50% to it. I think it's good to know, just because you bring something to it, it doesn't mean it has any less value, but I think it's very important to know the difference between when you're bringing something to a piece of art and when the art just has very little to say. And like, you know, there's some stuff I saw people being like, people should be careful not to play this game if their worldview isn't completely developed, because it might mess with that. And
well,
it's like,
someone
dude,
who says that in general.
That really sounds like a Rick and Morty fan.
It's like,
that's like
dude,
a teenager.
That's a it's a titty rape game, dude. Like, you know,
to really just change your outlook on the world.
It just really opens your third eye, man.
But I think there's a fun thing when it comes to genre stuff about like coming across something that is a staple of being deep into a genre world and everyone loving it because of what it means to them, and then you kind of playing it as an outsider and just kind of being like, what the fuck?
But like, and like there's parts about it, I think like the game, like in its own way, like I think it conveys the feeling of depression fucking amazing, you know? But the shit that comes after that, it's like it doesn't say anything more about that state. And it also like, you know, I think there's one page where the dude's like, I wonder, maybe I shouldn't fuck this kid. There's like one page where he thinks about it and that's it. And it's, yeah. I'm sorry, like, if this is a fucking weird section, this game entered my life and I did not know what I was getting into.
Only feel free to trim this bit.
Yeah, only if you feel like I've maybe potentially upset the wrong people here. Not the people who like this game.
No,
but
yeah,
I'm genuinely not trying to upset the people who like this game, but to me it was just like, I think part of it comes like
person emotionally defending this.
This is something that kind of does bother me, and like it's interesting you say it about like when you're deep into genre stuff, Niamh, because like this is a problem I come across all the time, especially in anime. There's certain types of anime fans who feel so put upon and so like rejected that any criticism of the thing they love becomes a personal attack, and the only way for them to respond is a personal attack back. I hate that style of criticism. People can talk shit about you, Hack Show, about Hunter x Hunter all fucking day. I'm never going to get upset. Like, I might make a video about it, but I'm not going to get upset, you know?
You got pretty upset, John.
Okay. Always a terrible example. But, like, I feel like this is something that is so important to some people, but I also think it's something, like, it's important to just look at it and be like, old Gen was trying to make something shocking, and he succeeded. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much else is there. If you want some edgy bullshit, sure, go nuts. You can download the uncensored patch from their website. I'm good, but yeah.
Thank you, John.
No problem. Anytime.
Just a video game podcast.
I cannot stress enough how much I did not know what that game, and now I think I'm like probably on the watch list or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my first time playing, was it I'm gonna have to look up the name for that.
Okay, well in the meantime then, last time I was in Japan, I bought a big omnibus of like hentai, because you know you got it, you're on holidays, you gotta buy your big holiday hentai.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dramatical Murder, because like,
what's that?
Yaoi girls love this game, and I was like, I'm gonna play this, and it was just like the worst time I've ever had.
What kind of?
So you've definitely seen the character of Aoba.
Have I seen
around?
Is this the figure?
Yeah, the figure where it's the guy with the blue hair and he's chained up, and yeah.
Oh,
I think it's like one of the it's an anime penis figure. You don't see a lot of those. But
no,
they're a subgenre.
There's a subgenre, but like
they're very easy to snap
but
off.
It's just
so you
one
have
of these
to make sure it's
games
good.
that is extremely popular in a subgenre of people. But then when you play it, and within that subgenre, it totally makes sense to them as to why it's popular, because it ticks a whole pile of boxes. But then as an outsider who's only heard about it and you go visit it, you're just like, okay.
oh no.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm always excited when I get my hentai on holidays, but because it's a big omnibus thing and it's kind of got something for everyone, roughly 25% of it is just not for Bryan.
Only 25%? You're doing pretty well.
Oh no. Quicktime Events. Steam Deck announced.
Yeah. This announcement came out as the previous episode was published. Mm-hmm. So 2 weeks off the press, here we go, the Steam Deck announcement.
Yep.
So this is Steam's handheld console.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's Fight a Boss, bringing you all the hottest news eventually.
Mm-hmm.
This looks really cool. I was really impressed with the marketing on how they showed the control stick schematics to make a point that it won't have Joy-Con drift. I thought that was kind of funny. People are worried, or people are convinced that it'll destroy the Switch. It won't. This is a different audience.
Yeah. I think that's so weird when people say something's a Nintendo specific killer, because it's like, no, Nintendo fans are playing Nintendo.
Yeah,
you don't have to worry about Nintendo.
Those fucking idiots will play the same game over and over again. I know from personal experience.
Yeah, totally. And I think this seems cool.
Did any of you put a pre-order in, or how do you feel about this?
I'm gonna hold off and wait and see, but I will watch videos about this.
I think for me, like, it kind of hits this weird line where, like, you know, I have my Switch for portable gaming, and then I have a PC connected to my television, and so, like, I would only need this for, like, the cross section of games that aren't on Switch that are on my but yeah, not really. I think it's awesome, but I'm not really interested.
This suits me perfect.
Mm-hmm. It does,
Definitely interested in this. I do not like playing games on my PC, and
if this was me a year ago, I think I'd be like, oh, let's do this.
Yeah, and like we've spoken a lot about why we aren't PC gamers, and I've tried. I have a Steam library.
You built your own computer, didn't you?
Yeah, I built my own computer. I have a Steam library.
I'm quite the computer enthusiast myself.
Oh yeah, you are, John. Yeah.
You should have spoken to Niamh.
The amount of people who have been like, why didn't you talk to me? Because I was sad.
But I just don't like playing on it because I spend 8 hours plus a day there, and I built my PC to be a workhorse for animation, and my gaming time and my animation time do not need to be the same time ever. So I just don't like it. Yeah, in the same chair, same place. I just fucking hate it, and no matter what anyone will say to me, I will never enjoy it. So this is perfect because there's loads of games, specifically like first-person shooters and indie games that I would love to play that just have not made their way to the Switch. And every time I see a game that I'm interested in, I Google if it's for the Switch or the console, like any other console.
See that Death's Door?
Yeah.
You play as a little crow.
Very cute. Is that on Switch? That is on Switch. No?
I don't think so.
Well, it's certainly on Steam.
See, and this is where this works for me completely, and I'm just like,
game library accessibility.
Like, it will be in like 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and then we won't care.
Yeah,
but by then the Steam Deck will be out, so you'll be playing it there.
Well,
anyway.
I tried to. They announced it, and then the day after they opened pre-orders, but it was like, you're buying an invitation to pre-order. Like, it was a €4 charge to put you in a queue, basically.
Queue, yeah.
So my virtual queue got extended to Q2 2022. So this original release date is this Christmas, this holiday season, but I will not be getting mine until further into the future. I went for the mid-tier one because that made the most sense for me.
Yeah, the storage on the low-tier one isn't good.
No, it says 64 gigabyte. No, it wasn't that small. Was it? They didn't put a 64 gigabyte thing in there. It wasn't a lot.
No.
Oh my god, it is. It's just 64 gigabytes.
And then what's the mid-tier one? It's like 5, or is it like 200?
It's 256 gigabytes, but more specifically and more importantly, it's an SSD drive in that one.
Yeah.
And
it'll boot quicker.
Yeah. So, like I do with the Xbox Series S, I'll just pass games between the SSD and micro SD to store stuff on. And yeah, exactly something I would be interested in.
Yeah. Good move for Steam for sure.
It's a good market to go after, and there's plenty of space for everyone, because there's another console that I will be pre-ordering by the time this episode is out, and that's the Playdate. That's up for pre-order at the end of July.
And the people who brought you Firewatch.
Yeah. I showed this to Rebecca and she was like, Bryan, that's the Ouya. And I was like, no, it's not. It's not the Ouya. It's got a crank and it's yellow. It's cute.
It is very cute.
Yeah. They've been doing some good PR the last week or so. They've sent out prototypes, or final version, but they're still prototypes to journalists and game sites, and the response has been fairly good. And they've also been talking about the pre-orders, and they said that there's going to be plenty for everyone. It's not going to be a scarcity thing. It's not going to be
they said they're
bumped out of the line.
They're building waves of them as they get to match pre-orders.
It seems like they're very confident about the pre-order, so I'll be pre-ordering this over the next few days, and hopefully I get my slash and it's all good, because I'm very curious about this machine. I've been keeping my eye on it for a few years now, and I need to know. I love handheld consoles. The weirder, the better.
This will be an oddity.
Yes. I hope it's good.
People seem to think it's cool.
Yeah, they do. And I think people are... I think most game magazines, or well, not magazines, but most game sites at this point know enough, and they've seen the damage done. Magazine.
Get out of here, Grandpa. Need to make an old joke about Bryan.
Come on, do some damage.
It's okay. We can wait.
Yeah.
No.
You could be like, Bryan's so old.
Bryan's so old. He tucks his balls into his socks.
Wow.
There we go.
Wow.
That's awful.
As per usual, Niamh, you have taken my game and shot it into the sun.
As someone who's going through a lot of personal surgery at the moment and needs support, physically and emotionally.
Use your socks. Okay, remove that too.
No, that's staying in.
Oni's really earning it today.
Oni, put in a whistle slide, like fucking send her down the fucking river.
Playdate seems cool.
Yeah, hope it's good.
I hope it's good.
Steam Deck will be, but Playdate, you know.
Will it? We'll see.
Well, the Steam controller worked out, didn't it?
Did it?
No.
Steam kind of have a history of putting shit out and just abandoning it.
Steam hardware,
Look,
what are they?
Because it's a mini PC, no matter what happens, people will hack this thing.
They will. It's just like in the like clone console scene, which I follow a lot. There's so many of these Chinese companies that make like hybrid switches with HDMI out, and like this is just the Steam version of that technology, so it looks more official. But like it does exist, but it is this weird like piracy no man's land vague territory where like anything is possible.
That is true. Okay, no transition to this next story. Blizzard Activision is a nightmare.
Is it what?
Yeah.
And the story keeps evolving, and it's just...
I think as we're recording this, the walkout is scheduled to take place. Basically, it was is it the California government?
Believe so.
Yeah, basically are leveling a giant, horrific workplace scenario. Investigations lasted 2 years into Activision Blizzard. That's, I want to say exposed, but like... It's so not a shock when this shit comes out now, because you just keep hearing the same shit over and over from these big companies. But just a absolute nightmare workplace of just misogyny. There was some real dark stuff in here. We're gonna have to do a lot of content warnings this episode. But there was a woman who was basically on a work trip, and she was involved with one of her superiors, and she ended up taking her own life, and apparently her nudes had been leaked at a Christmas party, and it is just the grimmest shit imaginable, and it sounds like it's been going on for a really, really long time. And I think this is what happens when you prioritize people because they have a perceived ability to bring in profit, and they are just able to get away with everything. And it's a fucking nightmare, and it's the same solution we always talk about. It has to be unionization. There's this shit, and that's not going to fix things magically, but there has to be something, because
these people need to be ousted as well.
Yeah, because they keep getting protected.
First big response from Activision Blizzard was a tweet from their corporate compliance officer saying that this was bureaucratic whatever. She basically tried to downplay the whole thing as this just some busy bureaucrats trying to take down a business, and it's like, you're a fucking nightmare person. And what is dangerous about a comment like that is she is going to something like that is going to energize the just crazy fanboys with this stuff who would rather stand beside a company as opposed to like, you know, actual human beings with real lives. Yeah, it is fucking awful. I thought Bobby Kotick's like, we've heard you, and you know what, we can just see from everyone's response how much you care about this company. It's like, go fuck yourself. Like, you fucking Borg cube of a person. Like, that's what this is. And it's like, this might be a bit of a reach, but like, I always remember reading this like old Blizzard book, and it was like a Blizzard art book for Diablo 3, and it was like, the section on like the Demon Hunter was like, we wanted, you know, we had one goal in mind for the Demon Hunter: sexy. And that was their entire fucking premise for this one character. And it was so weird to me that a comment like that would get through all the necessary rungs to be an official statement from Blizzard in like an art book. And I've always felt like that was kind of weird. And then you combine that with what's sounded like a crazy bro culture from Activision, and this shit is just, I just feel like has been festering for years. And like they say, it's been like, this investigation was for 2 years, and actually in 2018 some heads of Activision left, and they're claiming that they didn't know anything. I don't think cultures like this form in 2 years. I think this takes decades.
No, I've seen footage of like panels they did 10 years ago, and there's people in that chain of command that are probably still there, and their attitude is awful.
Yeah.
The way they treat their staff.
Yeah. I don't have really much more to say on it. Like, it is appalling, and it's like, disappointing isn't the word. It's just like devastating that this shit is just so rampant. Like, not even just in Activision, but like, you know, the Ubisoft stuff and just everything. Like, it is. I think
if there's no positive, but a positive thing that other games media has done, a lot of websites have vowed not to cover Activision Blizzard and Ubisoft games in the wake of this, which I think is a good move. Outside of this lawsuit, they're going to cover this, but not their games anymore.
Yeah, I think it's good to kind of cover the studio, but not what they put out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Because that's where the story is. That's where the information needs to come out on. You don't need a consumer review on whatever orc gun game they have.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fuck them. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do you guys want to move on to the next section?
Boy, more than anything in the world.
Because the next section is... John, say the word the way you like to say it.
Emails.
How's that for passing the fucking parcel?
Would have been pretty good, but then he pointed it out.
Only you can, no, I'm not.
Leave Oni alone.
Okay. We have an email address. I'm not going to drag it out.
No.
Any more than I need to.
No bullshit this time. Let's just say the email address and get on with it.
Okay.
Like, you know the way usually we'll do like a big bit and we'll kind of lead it in and stuff. This time, I don't think we should do that. I think this time it would be better just to get like directly to it and just say the email. Because that way we can just get on with the emails and just kind of move on with the show instead of everything just becoming this big fucking dog and pony show. You know what I mean, Brian?
I've forgotten the name of the email.
Is that the correct term? Dog and pony show? Yeah, could you look that up for me, Niamh?
Pony?
We can wait.
John, what's the email address? I don't know.
Yeah, it is. It's Dog and Pony Show. An elaborate display or presentation, especially as part of a promotional campaign. But who was the original Dog and Pony?
Yeah, let's pause things for a minute. Let's find this out.
Oh, okay. There's a clipping from an old newspaper. Okay, let's see.
I don't know if I should have done
this.
It's
colloquial origins.
Hang on, Brian. Let's just see where this goes.
1900.
That's a long time ago.
Oh, Henry Drunty and his brothers started touring in 1886 with a box full of dogs and ponies.
Oh, times were different back then.
You could just do whatever you wanted.
Box of dogs or a box of ponies. Or are you going to get the one with both of them in it? They'll love it in there. It's a big old box. Step right up, kids. You can see the dog boy.
Wow, look at the pony. Young man, step right back. Take your hand off.
He has blood in his eyes. Ask let's fight a boss at
Ask
gmail.
let's fight a boss at gmail.com. So straight to it.
All right. We got us a big old hypothetical. Let's do this. This is from Felix, and it's school fight.
Okay.
Okay. We have to imagine this is a battle manga, and we have all these different IP. Who's winning in all these different school fights? Okay.
Okay.
They're all educational environments because most shonen anime
Okay.
manga takes place in school, more or less. Okay. So I'll start with the first one. It's not that. Oh, the My Hero Academia school. Who wins in that fight?
Okay, hang on. Like, as in like a battle royale between the school? I don't fucking know. Whizzle-what? Who the fuck's in My Hero Academia?
None of them win.
Yeah.
Deku. I don't know.
Okay. The Mob Psycho 100 school.
Deku. Does he carry on?
No.
Yeah, he's still winning. It's Deku. Deku wins again in the second round.
Deku won in the My Hero Academia school. Who wins in the Mob Psycho school? Does
Mob.
It's gotta be Mob.
Yeah,
right?
Mob wins. Okay. This one's fun. Riverdale High.
Betty.
I think Betty has. She does have the darkness. Okay.
Yeah, she's got the serial killer gene.
Are we talking Betty or Dark Betty?
Look,
Because they both technically attend Riverdale High.
Dark Betty gets activated during the fight.
I rewatched season 1 of Riverdale recently.
Dark Betty.
Dark Betty. Okay.
Okay. Now,
Can she beat Mob and Deku?
we will get down to the later
Okay.
rounds. Okay, because it really builds on itself,
Okay,
doesn't
okay.
it? Okay. Now there it's one thing. I'm gonna separate the two up because they are two different movies in my the Heather's School. Then we'll do the Mean Girls School.
Oh. I actually think the Heather's school is meaner than the Mean Girls school.
Okay, the Heather's School, I think Winona Ryder would win because she actually survived an explosion.
Yeah.
Like she is invincible.
Yeah. I think if I wanted to go to learn a lesson, I'd go to Mean Girls school, but I think the Heather's, like, there's some violence to that place.
I think if you want to teach a lesson, you go to the Heather's School. I think with the Mean Girls School,
Regina.
Regina survived a bus.
Yeah.
Left flattening.
She was pretty tough, and then she took up lacrosse.
Yeah. So yeah, no, she bounced back. She's got some good HP on her. Okay, an Irish school.
Who'd win in an Irish school?
Yeah.
The nun who pretends to faint anytime you get up on her face.
I don't know, Niamh. Like, I think I could fuck her up.
Do you think like it wouldn't be some like second place rugby guy that just has a lot of pent up rage because he's second place, and like it's finally coming out and he gets to take down the first place guy?
Either that or just a gag girl.
A gag girl.
Let's go with gag girl.
Who's late for study.
Then they're vicious, and she has the schletter.
Yeah.
She has a lunchbox full of turf.
What the fuck is wrong with people who play hurling?
Nothing. They're very strong and scary.
It's a fucked up.
It's just like it's
a
a game
fucked up
with
game.
barely like none of them wear helmets, and it's just a slitter is just gonna fucking destroy your bones.
Yeah.
It's a
Tough
rock.
people.
It's a rock.
Tough people.
Okay. That one school in Bloodborne, that's the academy. You know what? Okay, I've got an answer for this. There is one student in the academy that's hanging from the ceiling, and he doesn't always trigger to fall down on you. So the students are very easy to kill, but this one student isn't as easy to kill as the other ones. So I think he's got a fighting chance.
He's got a plan.
Ceiling student. Okay.
But also there's also that big giant with the fucking like grappling sickle. So
I hate that guy.
yeah,
That's actually where I stopped playing Bloodborne recently.
Aw.
I'll go back.
Okay, Hogwarts.
I don't know, fucking Deku.
Yeah, Deku. Okay, the school from Junji Ito's Tomy. I would say Tomy because she's immortal. She's invincible.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think there's a real strength to an immortal girl.
Yep.
We've got like 3 of them now. Well, 4 if you include the Gag Girl, because Gag Girl ain't got, like
Nothing will kill her.
nothing stopping her. Okay, the school from the dissolving classroom. John, you might have an answer for this one.
The teacher gets set on fire.
Persona School, and here it says I've not played these games and I can't tell them apart. Persona School.
Chie.
Yeah, Chie. Very good. The Kung Fu Panda School.
Oh, Tigress.
You think no? Jackie Chan Monkey.
I gotta go with Tigress.
Okay, Tigress.
is cool.
Okay, The Simpsons School, but it's Treehouse of Horror style.
Oh,
Lunch Lady Doris.
Oh, Murder Lunch Lady Doris, yeah.
Bart Vampire.
Bart
Also
Vampire is
good.
pretty good. And then the last one, which I had a real think on, The Gantz School.
Ooh.
Now, there have been
The
several...
dentist. The dentist.
That dude. John, that guy's really... No, okay. So, for a while I was thinking about the dentist, but what I was thinking was, you know the way the main guy runs away from the fight against the angels that have the weird, like, lung-shaped wings, and one of them follows him to school, but shapeshifts into a student.
so good.
Okay, that shape-shifting angel with the long wings that looks like a student that isn't talking and then
entire
bites
arc's so
someone's
good.
finger off.
Yep.
That fucking thing.
Yeah.
Okay, now out of all of those winners, who wins in that battle royale?
Deku.
No. I think Gag Girl's gonna have to fucking...
Regina George.
Okay. Gag Girl or Regina George?
Regina George takes up Ga.
Oh,
Yeah, she would.
She is playing a version like Lacrosse's Gaz. It's a fast-paced stick game.
What else we got, Brian?
Okay,
Who was that from?
Felix.
Thank you, Felix.
Okay, this one is from Mike, and it's 2 short questions. This isn't gonna be short. About games with music. Okay. Thank you. Hi, Niamh, Bryan, and John. Okay, the first question. I find the older I get, the more multitask I get when I play through a game. I'll sometimes listen to other music instead of the game music itself. Are there any bands you associate with a game franchise?
Yes, I got the Jack and Daxter platinum version of the game the same year that Britney's My Prerogative special like collection album came out, and I used to play My Prerogative while playing Jack and Daxter, so those are just linked in my mind forever. Which is good.
That's a good answer.
Which is a good thing.
John, you got one?
Oh yeah, I got a ton. I think Final Fantasy VII and Linkin Park's Hybrid Theory, which I think that experience makes up roughly a third of my personality. The one that really always makes me like so nostalgic though is Secret of Mana. When I was little, I'm sure I've talked about this before, but my cousin had a tape player and he had one tape and it was Oasis's Wonderwall. And so I would just listen to Wonderwall on repeat while playing Secret of Mana. And so whenever I think back to Secret of Mana now, I'm like, that game is like so lonely and sad, you know? And like, I try and explain why that is, and it's because I listened to Wonderwall 200 times while playing it. But I really, you know, that's one of my favorite memories, like playing Secret of Mana with my cousin. And whenever I hear Wonderwall, it's like the strongest sense of nostalgia I get, and I really value that, you know?
Yeah.
All right. For me, it is Donkey Kong Country and Cotton Eye Joe.
Was that because there was a big line dancing moment
God,
that hit
yeah.
Ireland
around 94?
Yeah.
Oh my God. That, and then I guess kind of like a year or two later when I'm coming into like the N64 games, we're talking like Ibiza, Cafe Del Mar, whatever summer, like Gala's Strong Belief.
Tekken 4 and I Would Walk 1,000 Miles.
Oh, that's kind of cute.
It was, yeah.
Making your my way downtown.
I always associate Final Fantasy VIII with Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill as well.
Nice.
So that was a very moody time.
I associate like Quake with that.
Oh, cool.
I had a very unusual friend who was really into both those things.
Mike here has one where he says he associates Beautiful Joe with Limp Bizkit. But
Sick!
But it's also because Beautiful Joe looks like Fred Durst.
Yeah, he does.
It's a really good connection. Okay, then the other one, which I guess we're kind of already elaborating on, is, are there any pieces of gaming music you associate to anything else?
I think I've told this story on here before, but I had to get butt surgery before, and it was very painful. Like, I kind of... It was not in my butt, it was on my butt. But I had to get, like... I'm not going to go into it, but just a lot of stuff involving nerves and very severe pain. And...
Deep in the anus.
It wasn't deep in the anus, it was on the butt. It was the meat. But like kind of where the crack starts, it doesn't matter. But I ended up like basically screaming at the nurses to like give me some pain meds, because it was the most mind-numbing pain I had ever felt. And they were like, we can't give you more pain medication, you've had too much. And then I think after a while they were like, fine, and they gave it to me. And that night I didn't sleep a wink, but I was high as a kite, and I listened to the Silent Hill 2 soundtrack, and it was like the most engaged with music I have ever felt. Like, I felt like I could see it. I was like looking at my hands and being like, I can kind of hear the music on my hands. And it was fucking awesome. It was worth the ass pain. But you guys,
it's not a good ass pain story.
Didn't listen to any Silent Hill music while playing. I liked your story recently about watching Jeff Gerstmann's garage streams while listening to the Silent Hill music.
I needed some background music.
It really
for
just
Jeff.
complements whatever you want.
It really did. Rebecca was like, I like the music he's playing, and I was just like, no, that's me making this the most ultimate experience. I listened to all of Nier Gestalt's while reading Robin Hobb's Fitz and the Fool trilogy, and that's a really emotional book trilogy, so that album on top of it, it's just like, mwah.
Is the Fitz and the Fool that's after the Ship trilogy, or is it before the Ship trilogy?
I think it's before, but I read them the other way around as well. The live ship traders.
Yeah. Because one has a lot of the Fool and one doesn't have that much of the Fool.
Yeah, Fitz and the Fool has a lot of the Fool in it.
Unsurprisingly. I think that's after then.
Yeah.
Because I've always wanted to read that and I never have.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Off the top of my head, honestly, I love the music in Skyward Sword. I think it's really, really good Zelda music. And hearing that again 10 years later is just bringing a huge rush back. I think that's part of
especially because there wasn't really that much music in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, and the thing with the Skyward Sword soundtrack, I think it's the first Zelda game that was done by an actual orchestra. The orchestral soundtrack in Twilight Princess is a digital orchestra. This was an actual physical orchestra that did the soundtrack, so it has much more of a presence.
You know what? I said it before, I fucking hate orchestra music. John, I know, it's just...
That's not true.
It all sounds the same. It's all the same feeling and tone, and it's like, no, do something weird. Use synths, I don't know.
No.
It's called jazz.
You just need to listen to more.
No, I like classical music. I just don't like it when they put orchestra music in games, because I'm like, stop trying to be films.
Okay. You know how you were talking about reading books with music? Mm-hmm. So sometimes I'll reread certain arcs of One Piece, and I have a kind of discipline I have, or that I will always listen to Talking Heads. Because in my mind, Talking Heads is what One Piece is as music.
That is such a weird comparison, and I'm not going to say I understand, but okay.
Aesthetically, they're very similar.
You kind of give me ideas. I kind of want to reread Gantz while listening to White Pony.
Oh, yeah.
I love when, you can connect two pieces of media that you're really into at the one time and they go together. I recently read Priory of the Orange Tree while listening to all of Caroline Polachek's album, and they just fit so perfectly together that now that I've finished that book, I kind of find it nearly hard to listen to the album because I connected so strongly with those characters.
Yeah, it's this weird diptych that kind of connects.
It's fun, especially when two things you like at the same time are kind of coming out. Or at the same time, and you're just these will complement each other perfectly, like wine and cheese, but video game and music.
Meteora and Metroid Prime is another one for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Patreon shoutouts.
Okay. This episode, we're gonna talk about the Patreon a bit, are we?
Oh, yeah.
Now, we could have done this at the beginning of the episode and really, done a thing about it. But you know what? We are going to talk about the Patreon, but we're also giving you the respect and time. Is that fair?
Yeah. You're in too far now. You can't turn it off.
No. Yeah. No, it's impossible.
Okay. We have a Patreon, and it's very good. And the people who support us on it are fantastic.
Okay, look, I know I like to do a big spiel every time about why someone should join the Patreon, what the advantage is. So I'm going to get real with this one. I'm not going to lie. Some feelings might get hurt, okay? You can join $3 a month and you can get access to the Let's Fight a Boss Discord. And you might think, what could I do with the Let's Fight a Boss Discord? And there's things you could do. And Bryan, I'm just going to be real honest here. Someone could talk to you.
There is
Niamh?
the incentive of friendly people there.
Someone could talk to you, but yeah. And like, about myself, like, someone could talk. Why? Like, come on. Or you could talk to Oni fucking Dino. Dino, apologies. Hi. The secret fourth member, the hidden boss. A person we are very, very fond of and a big supporter of, and who I also asked beforehand that he would be okay with me doing this plug, and he said yes. Oni's a star, deserves all your love and respect. Maybe you just want to donate $3, come into that Discord, and just salute Oni. You don't even need to say anything. Find the best, do the Solid Snake gif salute from 3 where he's crying. Just launch one of them at Oni. Maybe he's going to write back. Maybe he's busy editing this episode. Don't worry about it.
There are a lot of characters on that Discord, and some become mods, some become the Lost.
Oh man, I feel so bad for those little losers.
Like,
not even going to describe how you become lost.
Like, there are people who have found their nesting on that Discord, and I'm real proud of them.
Sometimes I look at that Discord and I'm like, it's their Discord now.
Anyway, to you, dear listener, if you haven't joined or supported, like if you are curious about the Patreon, the Discord, and all that, and you want to know what's going on in there,
yeah,
check it out.
Yep.
I've made a lot more emojis because the server got boosted. There are 2 different Gex emojis.
That's how you know it's a quality Discord. But and thanks to everyone who donates to us. We are forever grateful, and it is always so heartening to see the really fucking cool support this Discord gets, and just in general, thanks to our community, because I generally find it to be such a chill, friendly community, and just welcoming of everyone, and it's awesome. Bryan.
Okay, I have our names attached to them, so I'm going to read out my one. Is that okay?
Go for it.
Okay, this one is from Shrouder. I'm writing this while locked in the toilet at work. I've taken a huge dump, and boy, can you smell it. The handyman is outside now, opening the door with half the office. May my soul be accepted into Valhalla. That is all.
Shrouder, I know this is 2 years later, but could you give us an update on what happens?
Dude, what happened?
Yeah, come on.
Niamh, you want to take this one?
This is from Pancakes. Been thinking about how much I enjoy listening to voices and accents lately, and just wanted to thank you 3 for warming my ear holes with your beautiful mouth sounds.
It's very good.
This one is from Jazz Living. John, I pay $3 a month explicitly to know I can make you say things and for no other reason. Well, that's fucking weird, but thanks, Jazz Living. Loot drop.
Oh shit.
Okay, so from all of us,
you have precisely, I would say 1 minute and 40 seconds. Sorry, Bryan, what were you saying?
So from all of us, we're going to have the music video for Blazing Squad.
Yeah,
please,
Crossroads, please.
Because guys, and I think we should call it the name of this episode, that we will see you at the crossroads.
That's a song that they covered, and I bet you Americans listening are just like, no, that's a really good song by a really good band. I don't know if that's true, but I want you to hear what our introduction to Crossroads were.
Because it's even better. And real quick, just before we get to the loot drops themselves, I want to say, we recently learned that MagFest will be coming back next year. I know there's a pretty large... Like, when I go to MagFest, I would say it is like 1 out of 3 people I meet there is Let's Fight a Boss fans, and it's always really cool to see. And we're considering our plans. We're seeing there is nothing set in stone, but if you perhaps would like to see the full Let's Fight a Boss crew at MagFest, I'm gonna drop a little form you can fill out and just let Magfest know, hey, I want you guys to bring these guys over, and maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't. Let's just see. It greases the wheels a little. Would you guys agree?
Oh yeah, it does. I'll make sure that form is easy accessible in the notes and other such places.
Yeah, and we appreciate it. Don't fill it out if you're not going to Magfest. If 4,000 people fill it out and 80 people show up to the panel, that would be a difficult one to explain. If you're enthusiastic about Magfest and Let's Fight a Boss, fill out this 1-minute questionnaire. Yeah, that'd be great. Okay, I'm going to drop the CM Punk pipe bomb I talked about earlier in the episode. Seriously, even if you don't give a shit about wrestling and you skipped Wrestle Talk because you hate it when I talk about wrestling, just watch a little bit of this. It is one of the most mesmerizing performances I've ever seen, and just the real, genuine vitriol on CM Punk's face it's just incredible. And John Cena's "oh no, what's happening" face is also very good. Bryan.
All right, I have a YouTube channel called Animal Logic. It's one I put on once a day. They do 10-minute videos about animals. And this one is on a bird called the shoebill.
Bryan, shoebills terrify me.
They're so cool.
I know. Okay, so this came up because the birds in Skyward Sword are based on the shoebill.
Oh.
And the shoebill is a type of stork that is almost the same size as an ostrich. And I know we've spoken about ostriches before and how fucked up looking they are and all of that, right? The thing is, the shoebill has convinced you it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And there's something kind of nefarious about that too, because they are fucking huge, they sound like a gun, and they have this pointy little tip right at the middle of their beak, and it'll crack you wide open.
You like shoebills, Niamh?
I do. I'd like that they look like Muppet puppets, but
They do.
violent.
They look like the bad guys in a feature Muppet movie. But yeah, this is just a video on them, and I really like this channel in general because one of the hosts is a big Pokemon fan, and if she gets the chance, she will compare it to a Pokemon.
Cool.
Which I think is good.
Niamh.
Oh man,
Time's up.
I don't have anything. I just don't have anything.
Why don't you loot drop a previous Let's Fight a Boss episode? Go for it, Niamh. What's your favorite episode of Let's Fight a Boss?
Or like a best of clip or something.
Oh my god. What is my favorite episode? I base it on the artwork I do. I don't know. 183.
I don't think that exists yet.
We're in episode 145.
Wait, yeah, I owe you 183 episode.
Why don't you link 145 and that way people can just listen forever?
The loot drop is to its
yeah. I'm gonna just link to this episode.
That's it. That's what we're doing.
Okay, so it's gonna be the SoundCloud to the SoundCloud.
I haven't been on the internet much this week. I went outside.
That's really good though.
I know.
Guys, that's gonna do it for episode 104. Oh, that's a spicy episode.
145.
I sure regret some things.
I regret so much, and whether it stays in the episode or not is not up to me at this point, because we've used up all our oopsie tokens, and sorry for what we did.
Let's Fight a Boss. We're so sorry.
This is the end of the episode.
Yeah, it keeps going. I can tell more old jokes.
Go for it.
Yeah, do. Kick me while I'm down.
Yeah, do it. Do the table. Get like everyone.
Oh, fuck. No, I actually don't have any. Stop
Niamh,
it.
Niamh.
No, come on, Niamh. You love being mean. Come on.
You batter up, Niamh.
I don't have any. I actually don't have any.
Yeah. Do you like John so muscly that...
John's so muscly that...
you don't know where his butt starts and his face ends.